It was just a mess of shit. This movie's great. You thought I was going to say shit, huh? Or sorry, or garbage?
No, I know you too well.
Never had I ever watched a movie where my favorite character got his ass whooped in the first 10 minutes, and then it ended the way I didn't want it to end, and I still loved it.
With that being said, though, Joe, let's go a few minutes without spoiling anything.
Alright.
And then we'll just dive into the spoilers, because there's no way to talk about Infinity War without talking about some of the great moments that are the spoiler department. That being said, I'm Dave Foruria. This is Padawan Joe.
What's up?
And we're going to review Avengers Infinity War. Finally, like a week late, but...
Yeah, about a week.
There's a reason, though. We just got out of showing, so it's fresh on our minds. We can talk about stuff more accurately. But I've seen it 3 times.
That was my second time.
And... Joe, do you still love it after the second viewing?
I'm still reeling after the fact of watching this. Like, seeing it twice, I knew what was going to happen, when it was going to happen, and I'm still just like, after walking out, I'm like, what the hell is going to happen? Like, yeah, I thought about fake characters and what's going to happen after I walked out of a movie instead of like bills and work and car payments or whatever. I didn't think about any of that shit. I was worried about what's going to happen with the Avengers.
You had blinders to the reality?
Like, I went with a bunch of friends my first time, and I was just like, you guys don't even understand, do you? Like, there's so much speculation and going in the air right now. Like, you can just speculate anything.
Well, there was a lot of hype for this. And did it satisfy you as an MCU fan?
Without a doubt.
I would agree. Same for me. I went about each of these viewings differently. Like, the first one, I was just full-on fanboy, taking it in, just absorbing every moment I can, and enjoying being part of that crowd, because that's opening night. Those are like the hardcore fans. Those are the fun fans to be there with. Second viewing, I'm trying to catch stuff I might have missed, because there are plenty of funny moments. It is interwoven into the action and the seriousness in a way that it's not distracting. You know what I mean? Marvel does it right. And
they have a good balance of their action humor, and they just know when to put it in.
I really agree. So I tried to catch stuff that, like, as the crowd was cheering or laughing at the first time. And, of course, this third time, I went about it very filmmaker-like. You know, I was watching specifically the cinematography and the blocking. I loved it. I love it so much. Credits rolled. I even turned to this dude. I was like, dude, this Trent Obelok, if I'm saying it right, I need to follow this dude. I need to go look at what he's done. And it's no mystery now why you love Winter Soldier
and Civil War.
It's not just the Russo brothers. He's a part of it too.
Well, that's their third wheel, and they need to keep it. So.
Yeah, and he's also the cinematographer for the next Avengers next year. Yeah. So this is gorgeous. I already know. I'm already confident. It's gorgeous. And then he also is attached to Neil Blomkamp, as he did District 9, Elysium, and Chappie.
I didn't see Elysium, but District 9 is a good movie.
Elysium is cool. It's just a couple of moments in it. It's sci-fi. It's just like, that shit didn't make sense.
Is Elysium Tom Cruise?
No.
What am I thinking of?
That's Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. They look the same.
That being said, anyways. Matt Damon played Loki.
He did. You watched Thor Ragnarok. He did play Loki.
Back to Avengers. What more can we say before we dive into spoiler territory? Let's see.
It's kind of hard to talk about this movie without spoiling it.
I really do think this is probably the best time a comic book movie or even action film, you could broaden that genre to where the villain is legit in the sense of he's fleshed out. You understand his motivation. You don't find yourself giving that bullshit. It's like, he's just evil to be evil. No, he really isn't.
Yeah, you remember everybody always complaining about Marvel villains? Mm-hmm. We've had 2 movies straight in a row.
Mm-hmm. Killmonger.
Maybe third if you want to count Hela, because I liked Hela.
Hela, well, I mean,
but
her personality was like what she did.
Killmonger and Thanos.
No, back it up one more. Vulture was great, too.
Oh, Vulture was a pretty good villain.
Vulture, it was for his family. So Marvel, I guess they're taking notes.
You're hearing out their fans. Like, hey, because before all them, everybody just, like, looked at Loki like, hey, are you going to be our villain? Can you please be our villain?
You're going to be our dude? It's funny. I said Marvel's taking notes from their fans. Remember one thing people complained about in Civil War was big fucking ladders.
Yeah.
This movie, they were down at the bottom. They're taking note.
They are. They're paying attention and they're hearing out their fans.
So not only do you get to see a shitload of these characters finally come together, but we actually saw a lot of different locations. What do you gotta say about those? All those planets that we visit. We went to Titan.
Then they went to the, I forget the place it was named because some of them are weird names. They went to where the hammer of Thor, the original hammer.
Ah, yes.
Mjolnir. I can't remember. Mjolnir. Where that hammer was actually created, which has an interesting cameo, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Where that hammer was created, they went there. Then they went to where we finally now got to see the Soul Stone, spoiler.
Vormir.
That was on a different planet. That had an interesting cameo as well. We will get to that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Every
planet had a cameo of
a
some
very
sort.
interesting cameo on the Soul Stone planet.
And, of course, Earth.
They went back to Wakanda, so that was nice.
We all saw that in the trailer. And Wakanda, we didn't need anything fleshed out because we just saw it in Black Panther. So, this is not a film where you're like, oh, I want to know what this full character arc of so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so is. You're not going to get that.
This really isn't even
it's not
an Avenger movie. This movie is about Thanos and what he came to Earth or what he's around to do. Like, he's here to get the stones and then fuck shit up.
Well, it's focused on him. And I guess it works because if you think about it, like, you just got onto this project, you got so many big name actors playing big name characters nowadays. That's a daunting task, yo. That's scary. How do you find any kind of centerpiece, any kind of place of calm?
Well, the Russos already had practice with Civil War.
This is twice that amount, man.
Yeah.
So picking Thanos as a balancing point, balancing point.
That's a reference
to his motivation. Actually, was pretty ingenious, and it also kind of self-propels the machine forward instead of it just being from the Avengers, point of view, because then it would kind of be very confusing. So that was handled very well. I think the biggest and greatest, I should say, criticism everybody's giving it, most of them across the board, is it is phenomenal how well juggled all these characters are in all these events. But that's also the editor. What the Russo brothers standing behind him was like, man, you're making this good.
You just gotta give it to whatever team
Everybody.
Russos have, and then whatever Marvel's doing.
I wonder if the editor's been on those other films.
He probably has.
Maybe.
You just never noticed it.
I'll look it up after this, but we're talking about the film right now. However, I'm saying this is not a complete character-driven one. Like, there are some characters that get an arc, but the one that I find the most interesting is Thor's. Because this is the film that resumes right after Thor Ragnarok. Like, the events-wise.
Like, literally, if you watch Thor Ragnarok and you stay to that end credit scene,
boom.
Avengers Infinity War takes place right on that ship. Like, immediately.
Like, a few moments after that moment.
Yeah.
And Thor, hell of a journey. Hell of an arc. And then you even get some moments out of him where he gets to finally word what he's feeling. And that's actually some, like, twist the knife in your gut moments. You're like, oh, fuck.
He's had a lot of stuff happen to him.
So
a lot.
So, kind of bridging from that, give some final thoughts into where it's non-spoiler, and then we'll dive into spoilers. Fucking great film. The Russo brothers, we can't praise them enough. Kevin Feige, well orchestrated. I mean, the first phase, it's just kind of rough, and you're kind of grabbing pieces that are trying to float all off in other directions and try to make something cohesive. Phase 2, they ironed it out, and then Phase 3, they're like, we got this. Bam, 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 bam. So, they worked hard for it. So a lot of people talk shit about Justice League and rushing to it and all that, and they're like, well, Marvel's no better. It's just like, no, they worked for it. They really did. They've gone through ups and downs. However, most of their projects are good. So they've given it the right attention.
They built it up, and then they took the time, and they got they got the necessary people, and it fit. Like, they got all the best people for the right roles. Like, look at Tom Holland. Probably
it works great.
Perfect Peter Parker and a great Spider-Man.
Even though most
Chadwick Boseman
oh man,
is the Black Panther. Like, you know how some people look at Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, like you can't see him as anybody. You can't see that character played as anybody else. Chadwick Boseman might as well signed himself up to play Black Panther for the next 15 years because that's how well he's doing.
Can you imagine a day where there's a Black Panther remake and it's somebody other than him? How pissed off?
I wouldn't imagine
People will be so pissed off.
I wouldn't even imagine it. I wouldn't even want to imagine.
Then again, people said the same probably like Michael Keaton back in the day's Batman.
I mean, yeah, there's been other good Batmans. I mean, people like the Ben Affleck now. I still like Christian Bale, in my opinion. Everybody has their own Batman.
I want to see true Batman, which is hardcore detective.
That would be cool.
Instead of just brawler Batman all the fucking time. But anyways, that's DC.
DC.
That's DC. We're talking Marvel now. Wakanda Forever.
Yeah. Captain America.
Titty.
I showed you my titty. I showed you my other titty.
He's a Dallas fan, obviously.
No, fuck that. No.
Okay. Final thoughts. And then we'll dive into spoilers. What do you want to say to the people?
If you guys get the time, you got some money on you, you got a friend, or you can go by, you know what? I'm the type of
I went by myself.
I don't need somebody to go see this movie. That's how good this movie is. My first showing, I don't think I've ever remember sitting in a theater for a movie like this the whole time. My eyes were so glued.
Oh yeah.
To that screen. I've never done that with any movie before. I think I was so focused on what the hell was happening.
Oh my God, yes.
So you guys get the time. You get an extra day off or whatever. You go see this.
Do it while it's still in theaters.
Yeah, because if you haven't seen it, you need to leave this video now because spoilers
are coming.
Are coming ahead.
Are coming. The follow up on your go to theaters, but go to IMAX.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like I said, I came at it as a filmmaker, and they purposely filmed everything with IMAX cameras. That's expensive as fuck. And only a few films have incorporated IMAX cameras in production, and they only saved those for, like, the really badass moments. Like, and I want to say Dark Knight. They only brought out an IMAX camera for big action scenes. For big moments, and then everything else they glossed over with some other camera. So probably like one of the more common cameras right now is like the Arri Alexa Mini and stuff like that. Or they're using these really nice fancy cameras, these pretty heavy duty fucking cameras. But IMAX cameras, that aspect ratio, that you see so much. Like remember growing up, we had to pick DVDs. Widescreen or full screen? You remember that shit?
Yeah, it was very rarely you would get both.
That's because it was... Widescreen is what everybody filmed in, except for television. Eventually, now television is widescreen. And then full screen was because people were still adjusting to that. Now, good luck finding a DVD that's full screen. Of anything that comes out, because everything's widescreen now. And even our TVs started going... Because that's what's filmed in. IMAX... kind of goes back to this. Not as square as full screen or old TVs back in the day, but you get so much. They spare no expense. Went IMAX crazy. You see so much, and I don't want to go and see this movie on a standard screen. I don't want to see it in widescreen. I refuse. That's why I told you we're going to IMAX, because it was filmed in IMAX. See it in IMAX, and I'm not saying that to promote Disney so they could get more money and all that. Actually,
they're ready to get enough.
Well, check your local theater. They might have a rewards membership of some sort to where it just brings the ticket price down to a normal ticket price for IMAX.
Stubs.
AMC. I mean, we're not AMC fanboys. That's the only one here. It's worth it. It's so beautiful. It's like having a beautiful 4K Blu-ray and 4K TV, and you're just like basking in the gorgeousness. So if you are gonna see this film, or if you actually have seen it, but you just went to a normal standard set, and do not go to 3D. I mean, 3D is fun, but
that was my first showing was 3D.
3D, they choose what you look at.
Yeah.
This one, especially on like a second viewing, you got freedom, and you absorb so much more. So if you can get a normal IMAX 2D, do it. That is the best way to see this film. Spoilers now. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. If you have seen it, time to enjoy this moment.
Stay with us. Because there's a lot to talk about.
Thor's arc, he has the most motivation to kill Thanos.
Oh, yeah.
Because right out the gate, he's lost so much.
Right out the gate, it shows...
Oh, man.
Like we said before, at the end of Thor Ragnarok, all the rest of the Asgardians, Thor, Loki...
Had to flee Asgard.
Korg, Valkyrie, and Hulk are all on this spaceship. And they're flying, and it starts out as a black screen kind of, and then it has this distress signal from that ship.
No, it has the animation.
Oh yeah, the animation.
The logo for Marvel is going. See, we're so used to these Marvel movies starting off with dun 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 dun.
Yeah, this one didn't start out with that.
When it was going and it was silent, there were still people talking. So I was like, "What's going on?" And I didn't hear the distress call going on while that logo's running. And then when I heard a whisper. Or the tail end of what is obvious a distress call, my mind immediately went Xandar, because we were talking about that in our last podcast. I wanted this film to start off with Xandar getting fucked,
and that's a little nitpick that I have, because when you first see Thanos, he has the Power Stone.
Yep, purple.
He already has it. Like it's in his gauntlet.
Guardians of the Galaxy. They locked up at Nova.
They do not show Xandar destroyed. They show the
it.
Asgardian ship destroyed, and they're coming for the Space Stone.
That's where I started, and honestly, that's probably a better choice. Once again, coming at it filmmaker-wise, because you immediately get something that's recent with familiarity. So the ending of Ragnarok, and it has a multitude of characters in there that right out the gate you can start getting the tone. So Loki dying. Especially in a very kind of brutal way.
Oh, Thanos was brutal.
Uh-huh.
Pretty much the entire movie, he was a brutal character.
But right out the gate, that sets the tone, so nothing really...
Right out the
takes you out of it if later on he's super brutal and you're like, oh, fuck, what?
Right out the gate, this is what made me love Thanos. They insert his dominance so quickly.
There you go.
Thor and Hulk are on that ship.
That half. We got to mention, because people have been bitching. One line that Thor says is like, and he slaughtered half my people. And they're like, no, he didn't. He blew up the whole ship.
One other half of it. See, I didn't notice it my first time. I noticed. He pointed out the second time. The ship is broken too.
Yeah. You see, it's like Titanic. You see the wirings and the snapped parts of where whatever happened before that scene finally was revealed to us. That ship got fucked up.
Yeah.
Before they showed up and went on board. So that second half probably has Korg and Valkyrie, which is a big mystery to people.
Which I hope so, because I like those characters.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Hey, man. You want to get on the ship? But, to go back to the
brutal
asserting dominance of Thanos.
Love it.
My favorite character will always be the Hulk.
Yep.
Loki is about to hand the Tesseract over, but he utters a famous line, "We have a Hulk."
Which was used against him in the first Avengers.
Yep. And Hulk comes busting in, and he gives Thanos a few good punches, and then one of his children tells the other, well, I forget their names, because they all have
Ebony
names.
Maw tells Cole Obsidian,
let him have his fun.
Let him have his fun.
Now, when he said that, my heart sank, because I'm like, oh, the Hulk's about to get his ass whooped.
Yeah.
And Thanos demolishes him, man. If you're a Hulk fan, you will be very disappointed with him in this movie.
You are.
Because...
But yeah, you're still happy.
Oh, yeah. Even though he got his ass whooped, that dominance at the beginning, Thanos has the two strongest Avengers. He has Thor bleeding on the ground, carrying him around like a rag doll. When he first picks him up, he's just like, and then he beats the Hulk up. And then Heimdall, if you guys remember Heimdall, he was the
gatekeeper
of Bifrost on Asgard. He's laying on the ground bleeding, and he uses what do you call it, dark magic or something?
Yeah, because if you remember in the first Avengers, Loki calls it out on him. It's just like, oh, how much dark energy did the All-Father gather to musk you here? That kind of thing they hinted at, and it kind of has a scientific background because of dark energy, dark matter, and all that. It's something that is a huge crux right now of research going on. So it's kind of cool where that's a kind of thing that slips into it. But he does like a chant. It's like, old fathers, grant me more dark energy to do one last thing. And he uses his power, Bifrost, sends the Hulk off. And here's where a lot of stuff makes more sense to me now. Because later on, Stormbreaker, it said, by theory, could even summon the Bifrost. I think that sword that Heimdall uses was really the real source of the Bifrost. Because were they able to use the Bifrost without it?
Even though it had to be inserted.
Even Hela said, that's the key to the Bifrost.
Yeah.
Whereas her power is, I can make swords. So if it was like a literal key, as in like a turn key, she could have done it, right?
Yeah, I would say that.
So I would say this is like a magical artifact that Heimdall was in charge of. It wasn't really his power. Honestly, we can all agree Heimdall's power was he can see people. Where that's what created the fan theory of Heimdall's the Soul Stone, because he could see people's soul. I was kind of in that camp for a while. And it worked with the Thanos name spelling out and all that. Anyway, no matter.
But Heimdall sends the Hulk off back to Earth. Immediately, like not even 5 seconds, Thanos is like, well, that was a mistake, and then he stabs him and kills him. Mm-hmm. Our first death in this movie is Heimdall. Yep. Rest in peace, Heimdall.
Oh man, I liked him too so much. Followed up with Loki trying to weasel his way in. And you're like, oh, is this just Loki being Loki? Turncoating all the time.
I think where he fucked up is he just started spatting out random stupid shit like, I'm the god of mischief. Okay, Thanos is gonna kill him.
That was the final thing he said before,
like,
before he lunged.
Yeah, they made that look real cool. He pulled out his little knife by his hand. Mm-hmm. And he's getting ready to stab him, and Thanos stops it just before his throat. And then he proceeds to choke him out.
With the glove.
And just, like, it was like a twig for him, man.
Ugh.
He snapped him so quick.
He did.
And, like, he kills Heimdall and Loki both in front of Thor. Like, Thor sees this all happening.
So, Thor lost half his people.
Lost his brother.
Lost a good amount of them right before this, too. Like, he's at the tail end of, he just went through some shit.
Yeah, because Hela killed all the
armies.
What are they called? The big three or the three or something?
Oh, the Warriors 3. Yeah. Killed them. So, Thor is just like, holy shit. Like,
his life sucks right now.
Oh, it's so brutal. It's like, how can you be happy about anything anymore? Like, ugh. But, yet that's the most intriguing character arc. He's really the only one that kind of gets one. This one, I guess that's the second propelling momentum in this film is Thor's revenge journey. So, I loved Thor in this. And I think that's everybody's favorite moment in the movie is when Thor finally shows up to the fight.
But now the Hulk gets transported back to Earth.
Oh, we're doing play-by-play?
That's what I thought we were doing.
I could skip around, I don't care.
Hulk gets transported back to Earth by Heimdall.
Yep.
And he lands in Doctor Strange's Sanctum.
Yep.
And he's like, Thanos is coming. Thanos is coming. Like, the British are coming.
He doesn't chant it. He just says it twice.
Yeah.
Once in a kind of a Hulk voice, which was kind of eerie. And then as he shrinks down to normal Bruce Banner. And of course, Stephen Strange. Who? Bam! Title screen. Title card. Avengers. Which has the same animation as the other two Avengers. Shows Avengers and then it turns the letters and then it reveals the subtitle.
Which is awesome.
Well, I mean, there's no subtitle for the first Avengers unless you're like in the UK or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, fucking awesome.
Then Tony Stark added. Why did he put that chest piece back on? I don't know.
Oh, isn't that dialogue he's having with Pepper? She calls him out on that.
Yeah, she's
like,
another.
If you're so worried about us, why'd you do this? And she flicks this kind of thing. He's like, no. I did this to protect us. I know I had the surgery and everything, but I inserted this. It's a housing unit for his nanotech. So basically when his suit gets turned on, it comes from there. Picture it as like a hive.
Okay.
And all the nanobots and pieces and all that of his new suit, it's in there first. And later on, as you see in the fight, after he expends some of his nanobots for other stuff, or some of them gets broken and tossed away, it eventually comes to the point where he has no more. So he has to like reallocate where the pieces are. which then leads to what happens to on Titan. Anyways, that's why. So a lot of people were totally baffled. It was like, what the fuck is that? Like, he had the surgery. Why does he need an arc reactor?
Well, now it's better explained than what the movie did. So.
Well, the movie did do it.
Not for me.
You were just zoning out.
My first time going there, I wasn't hearing, I was just watching. And I was hearing for specific stuff, and that wasn't one of them.
You're like, oh, love birds.
Well, because Pepper Potts is back in this movie. We saw her in Homecoming at the end. We didn't see her for a long ass time before that.
Like 3 years.
Yeah, but she's back in, and they were gonna get married, and then before they could even do that, Doctor Strange comes out of a portal. He's like, look, Tony, get your shit and get up. I need you.
The universe is at stake, and then they had to explain. Yeah, I kind of roll my eyes at exposition sometimes when people have to like take a moment away from everything and explain shit to you. But this makes sense because, well, Tony, who even is quoted in the film by Captain America himself, Earth's greatest defender is gone. You know, he is the Earth's greatest, first and foremost defender of anything, other than like what Doctor Strange takes upon himself to defend us from. So, yeah, the whole moment where they explained origin of Infinity Stones, kind of like what the Collector did for the Guardians, was necessary. It was also necessary for the audience because there are plenty of people who forgot the story back to Guardians back in 2014, or are tagging along because this is the biggest movie and everybody won't shut the fuck up about it. Oh my god. So it helps if you try to bring somebody who's only seen this and nothing else before and still understand why everything is going on. So this exposition, I have no problem with.
When they're explaining all the stones?
Yeah, I had no problem with that. And I like how there's no further questions anymore for Bruce or Tony. They're like, all right, this is what we're going to do. And then apparently, you could tell in this movie, Banner keeps repeating what he learned because everybody else learns about it, you know. Vision's not all-knowing. He didn't know about that. And in the end, he even says, if we don't destroy this fucking thing, half of the population of the entire universe is gone. How do you know that? Because Banner's been the messenger. And I think that's a thing that if you're going to bitch about it, it's like, why is Captain America all of a sudden knows what's up and about all the stones? He wasn't there. Come on, there's plenty of moments that are not on camera. Stop acting like the only things that are true is what's on the film.
You can use your imagination a little bit.
Fill in the blank, even though this movie doesn't really ask you to, but it's for those people that nitpick in the weirdest ways. Oh, why did so-and-so do this? Or blah, blah, blah. Fucking use your brain for a moment, alright? Look who's hanging around them. Done deal. Anyways.
So they, of course, have... Doctor Strange has the Time Stone around his neck.
Yep.
Vision has the Mind Stone. They now need to find Vision. But none of them know where he's at except for Captain America, Steve Rogers. This is the part
he doesn't know. He was just able to find him better.
This is the part that kind of... Another little nitpicky part. Why didn't Tony just make the goddamn call? They asked Tony to call Steve, and he didn't do it. He hesitated. Now, if you haven't seen Civil War...
that's because the ship was showing up.
Yeah, but like he had a moment where he could have dialed it.
He could have, but then it would have just immediately been interrupted because shit's going down outside.
But if you haven't seen Civil War, that's the reason why he hesitates not to call him. They have a whole big fight over Bucky killing... Spoiler if you haven't seen Civil War. I mean, Bucky killing Stark's parents. So, that's the reason why he hesitated on the call. Well, then they have this ensuing fight, which is actually, for an if you count the Hulk versus Thanos as the
Still an opening fight.
This opening fight scene I actually really liked. Because, what's the weird squid? They call it... Tony Stark calls Ebony Maw Squidward.
That's a good laugh.
Like, both times I went, the audience just fucking... Because SpongeBob memes are all crazy, so... As soon as he said Squidward, everybody just died.
Oh, yeah.
So...
That's one of the greatest jokes.
They make him look so strong and shit. Like, I like the whole opening scene with him. Because he's not... Even when his, I guess you would call his brother, gets thrown at him... He doesn't even move. He just moves him out the way because he has like these telekinetic powers and shit.
Yeah, he's just like. Psh.
They just made him look so cool. Out of the whole Black Order, they probably gave him the most screen time. I would say.
I think he is technically the strongest from the comics too, maybe.
But which is weird. I think he's the first one to die, isn't he? out of the 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, he...
Technically.
Yeah,
yeah.
he's the first one to die out of
Because
the 4.
the other 3 are during the Battle of Wakanda.
Yeah. So they have this cool little fight, and then Iron Man is yelling at Bruce Banner to like, "Hey, yo, are you gonna get in on this? Are you gonna fight the big dude?" Like when I first saw the big dude in the trailer, I was like, "Okay, him and Hulk are gonna fight easily." Obviously, because it's 2 big guys.
Nope.
Like Hulk has this like inner thing. Like people are saying that Thanos beat his ass so bad he's scared to come out. So. Now, all you Hulk fans...
That's all it looks like.
All you Hulk fans, at that beginning where you see the Hulk, you don't see him the rest of the movie. He's not anywhere in the rest of the movie.
How do you feel about that?
I don't even know what to say to that, man. Because, like, okay, I understand. If you go from just Marvel Cinematic stuff, Thanos literally is the first person to, like, wipe the floor with him, like, with ease. Mm-hmm. Like, him and Thor have gone a few rounds here and there, but he kind of gets the better of him. But Thanos made it so easy. And
the moment he got his bearings, he's like, and tactical shit. Bam, 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 bam.
And he just, like... Because the Hulk isn't, like, a straight-up, like, fighter. He's just, like, a brawler. He just swings. Yeah. Fucking Thanos was, like, bobbing and weaving like a boxer, man. He was running circles around the Hulk.
I think that first hit...
Yeah, he did like some judo chop, Austin Powers shit right in the throat, and the Hulk was like, "Ugh." Yeah, it was
judo chop.
But the Hulk doesn't come out for the rest of the movie, so
he will next one.
I hope so.
He will.
He better.
There ain't no way they're gonna have a finale and he's not gonna.
It'd be a lot of upset fans, man. I'm just saying.
You want round 2, like you said.
We had a podcast a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
Last week.
Yeah, last week. Where I said I wanted a Hulk versus Thanos, and I got that like right at the beginning. So I was happy with that, even though my boy got his ass whooped. I'm okay with that.
I wish we were at the same showing, because I would have turned to you and was like, "There you go." But speaking of last week's podcast, I called out a lot of this shit.
Yes, he did. But we'll get to that.
Well, I mean, we're going at a slow pace technically, so let's not go play by play. Let's just kind of. All right, we gotta go in chunks now. To be fair. Yeah, this is a spoiler talk, to whereas technically we could talk about the details and all that. But let's talk about a lot of the stuff that not everybody else is doing, I guess you could say. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, everybody is upset about some of these deaths and all that. Do you feel like it was time for Loki to go?
He's been in it since 2012, right?
11. Thor.
Oh, yeah, the first Thor.
Yep.
See, I'm one of the weird people who say I didn't really care for Loki in the first Thor.
Well, not a lot of people. But
I don't know what
around for Avengers, people loved him more.
I think it's what Avengers set him off, and then people would just like fell in love. They're like, "Oh, Loki." Yeah. Because before that, we didn't really have any like memorable villains. You know what I'm saying?
No, like.
But I am glad, and I hope that some of these deaths, they're like, that's plural, people. Like, there's more than one. If you thought there was one, you're going to go into the theater very upset. I thought there was going to be 5. There was more than that, okay?
No, you said max 5.
I was hoping max 5, but it was way more than that. But do I think it was time for Loki to go? Yeah, they got to start killing off some of these characters. They do. Like, they got to have some, like, meaning to all these characters. Like, everybody liked Loki. Kill them off.
Heimdall.
I liked Heimdall.
He was a secondary character, so it's not that far-fetched. Yeah. Even though we've already grown to love him. Yeah,
they haven't even been taking chances with just killing off secondary characters. Until now.
Well, I mean, they're the obvious first ones to go. I was thinking when the Russo brothers were saying, "Oh, there are some deaths. Get ready for some deaths." Everybody's like
permanent deaths.
They're like, yeah, it's just going to be secondary characters. We want to see... There's a lot of people who went into this movie who are like, I want Cap and or Iron Man to die. And that's a weird thing to say, because they're also one of the driving forces why you're going to this movie.
My first time in a theater watching this movie, after I left, there was a dude just screaming his head off about Captain America not dying. I'm like, holy shit, dude, do you hate the man that much?
Well, one of them...
I didn't want to see any particular character die. I just was guessing on who was going to die.
You wanted to wait, at least.
Yeah, like, because if a Captain America or an Iron Man did die, you would be like, holy shit, like, Thanos means business. Like, he fucked up a lot of shit, but he didn't kill anybody of importance. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh no, there was one important person he did take out. I mean, not with. Okay, two technically, one permanent death and one that was involved in the, I guess you call it the culling. You know, what word would you give the snap? The snap sounds weird.
The snap.
The culling, or rapture. Some people make the rapture joke. The permanent death is Gamora.
That one, yeah.
That is a
that one
weight
kind of
one.
hit home because it's kind of like, I always felt like she was like the second Guardian because everybody liked Star-Lord. But it's like Gamora was like the badass green chick everybody knew.
Yep.
Like, and now she's like, the way he, I kind of didn't like the way that they killed her off. Okay, in order for Thanos to get the Soul Stone,
which I called last week on the podcast,
so you have to sacrifice a soul for a soul.
Yep.
That's why the Soul Stone has never been in any other movie. Okay.
Yep.
So, this was real shit for Thanos, and this is why I like Thanos. In order to get the Soul Stone, you have to sacrifice soul for soul.
Something you love.
Something you love.
Yep.
Thanos turns to her and is actually, he's crying, okay? He's like legitimately, he's got tears, he's crying.
We skipped a step.
What?
Who's the guide to give us this knowledge?
Oh, the guide for us, for this knowledge, is a very big cameo. For all you people who have been wondering about a certain red-faced person from Captain America Uno, the first
I don't
Avengers.
think he has a face. I think it's a skull.
Red Skull was the person giving Thanos all this knowledge. He's
I
literally on this planet by himself.
I knew he didn't die in First Avenger because when they said it's the Space Stone, I was like, oh, well then it probably just teleported him.
But
I was right.
Why did it choose to teleport him to that planet?
Well, he said it in the dialogue. It punishes him.
Because he wanted that stone.
He was lustful for power and when he seeked the stones. Thus, he was banished to live here, only or banished with knowledge as well for those who visit, and can only serve the purpose of guiding those to the Soul Stone, only to fail. Kind of like, you know, his kind of whole arc. Like the dialogue, in multiple viewings will help elaborate, because a lot of times in a first viewing, you're not listening to dialogue very closely.
Oh, I know I wasn't. I was paying attention.
You just said it. I'm there to watch. I'm not there to...
like, I just want to see what's going on, and then later I'll hear
dialogue is important, and more people need to listen. Joe.
Sorry.
So it does make sense why he's there. It's purgatory. He's fucking.
But it is, my first showing to it, it was the greatest cameo ever because people literally lost their fucking mind.
There was gasps.
Like, even though it wasn't Hugo Weaving, I don't know who it is who played the...
It was like Mark.
He's from like The Walking Dead or something, isn't he? Or
I don't know. I have to look at it.
He's from one of those shows. But anyway, like, my first showing, people lost their shit.
Yep.
This second showing we just went to, like, I don't think anybody knew who the fuck he was.
Well, my real second showing, yeah. There was still reaction. This one with you.
No, there was nothing at this one. People were, like, dead in the audience in this one.
But then again, we were getting reactions...
from weird shit.
For other stuff that didn't happen before.
You're talking about the Mega Axe program.
Yeah. Well, no. That's actually all three.
All three.
Explain yourself now.
Okay. So...
I thought I knew what you were talking about.
I thought you knew what I was...
it.
But Thor wants to make a new weapon. And he goes to that...
The Thanos killing kind.
The Thanos killing kind. And he goes to this star. I don't think it's a planet.
Mandevalier.
And there's another interesting cameo there.
Love it.
They literally made a giant-sized dwarf, and the dwarf is Peter Dinklage.
Love it.
If you don't know who Peter Dinklage is, Game of Thrones. He was also the first voice of Ghost on Destiny for all you hardcore Destiny fans.
I loved his performance way more.
But he's literally giant, but he's a dwarf. He's still his same. It's weird to explain.
Same proportions.
Thank you.
But just big. But it worked though.
And people in this second showing lost their shit over that.
Yep.
I was like, why are y'all? I mean, yeah, I'm excited too because it's a big fucking midget. But
the reaction wasn't all immediately kind of like the gasp we talked about. Where Red Skull, instead of everybody like Peter Dinklage or Tyrion, whatever they wanted to say. No, it was like crackling at different moments. Every time it went back to a shot on him, and it was clicking for multiple people at different rates.
Well, yeah, because I guess it's funny to see.
It's so fucking...
Well, because Peter Dinklage is he's short. He's a midget.
No, he's not a midget.
Dwarf.
No, he has a different condition altogether.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, I can't tell you the specifics, but it's not the same as the character who played Mini-Me, or that actor, which, by the way, rest in peace.
Oh, yeah, he did. Oh, yeah.
I can't remember his name for the life of me right now. But Peter Dinklage has a different condition. But anyways, it worked. I'm a hardcore Game of Thrones fan, and I love Peter Dinklage in a multitude of movies he's in. It didn't take me out of it, though, because it fit. That cameo was great.
But, I mean, I'm trying not to be funny, but to
Oh, no, it is kind of funny.
To get a small person to play that part, you pick the right small person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because if it was like, for
Peter
example,
Dinklage
like
is
Mini-Me again.
He's well known. Like, there are Game of Thrones fans everywhere, except for me.
Dude, he's a hardcore actor. He deserves that Golden Globe he got.
Yeah.
He deserves it. He is an actor. Phenomenal. Like, there's plenty of movies where he's in it for the role, and it is pointed out, hey, you're different. But there is one film, I think it's titled The Maddest Man in New York, and it was one of Robin Williams' last films. He played Robin Williams' brother. Never brought up. Worked just fine. Great movie. He's also in 3 Billboards Outside of something Missouri. I can't remember. Great role. Anyways, great cameo.
You want to talk about our last cameo?
Yes.
Which is actually the first cameo we should have probably talked about in order. But
we went out of order.
If you should know by now, there's always a Stan Lee cameo.
Yep.
This one, I thought it fit pretty. You know what? I don't know why.
It was better than like the Spider-Man one at the window.
I don't know why I never thought of this, but I mean, Stan Lee's he's not young.
No.
And your bus drivers are usually old ornery men.
Or women.
Or yeah, women.
Yeah.
His cameo was a bus driver for Peter Parker's school. Like they were going on a field
we
trip.
constantly saw in the trailer and the clips and all that.
They were going on a field trip, and which actually has one of the funniest parts because he taps Ned on his face. He's like, "Hey, cause a distraction," and Ned doesn't even like
waste a moment.
He doesn't even waste a moment, and he's just like, "We're all gonna die," and he's like running to the back of the bus.
Taking everybody he can with him.
And then Peter gets out of the emergency exit window and puts his spider suit on.
Of course, Stanley's just like, what's the matter? You never seen a spaceship before?
Yeah, like he's seen it all,
That's so
man.
nonchalant.
Like, you never seen a spaceship before? Like, this is New York, man.
Aren't you the same assholes? Like, superheroes in New York? Give me a break.
That would be great if, like, they would, like, tie all the Stan Lee cameos together.
I mean, they kind of hinted at that in Guardians, too.
When he was talking to the,
Watchers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that time, I was a Federal Express delivery man. I was like, you motherfucker, that's funny. It's gonna kill me when he goes.
Yeah.
That's the death that we can't joke about.
No, you can't.
I will say, for these small character pop-ins, I guess you could say, those were great.
I really was when
it just fit.
When Red Skull, the Peter Dinklage one, I was like, eh. But when Red Skull popped on the screen, I would just wanted to stand up and like, Marvel, you need to stop. You guys are doing too much fan service, and I'm loving it because there was like that was an internet thing for years. Like, where the hell is Red Skull?
Yeah.
Is he dead? Is he alive?
He's a bigger villain than they gave him credit for.
And then hey, even though it may just be a cameo and that's made what it stick as, I'm fine with that. You now know
you kind of got some resolve.
You now know what he was doing the whole time since 1940 or whatever.
45, 46.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been sitting on a planet guarding a stone he can't have.
No, guiding.
Guiding a stone he can't have.
He's not guarding. Oh, man. A lot of people kept theorizing that the Soul Stone was on Earth. And
I really thought it had something to do with Wakanda. I really did.
Well, because a lot of stuff lined up, like the ancestral plane, and then the Soul Stone actually has a pocket dimension where you suck in souls and stuff like that, and you can visit them. You know, there was a lot of parallels that worked. A lot of people are like, oh, it's in the meteorite with the vibranium, duh, that kind of shit. But that would have been, like, too easy, you know? And I don't like when Earth is made out to be the sole most, like, important fucking place in the universe. The fact that there was 2 stones on that is my limit. I was like, that's fine. Because one of those stones literally wasn't always on Earth. The Time Stone, it was found by Agamotto, which is a wizard, and they go to all different kind of dimensions. So that's like, oh, he knew, he learned how to do that, came across it, and was like, oh, you're coming home with me. works just fine with me. And the Mind Stone wasn't even originally there. Actually, Tesseract was there first. It was buried in an old ruin that the Nazis covered up, or Hydra, I should say. But that one eventually left. The one that was brought there was the Mind Stone. So the only one that like truly should have been there on Earth was Tesseract. That's it. That's the only... Midgard was chosen for that. And the fact that it was in a Norse crypt, Asgard was behind it somehow.
Yeah.
Had to have been.
Had to be. Well, I think we should talk about the two biggest parts in my mind of the movie.
What's the first one?
The battle on Titan.
All right.
And then the battle of Wakanda. Or battle on Wakanda.
What about Nowhere?
Nowhere was interesting. Man, when I first saw... Okay, so... if you guys remember from Door to... Oh, Door.
What?
From the Door. From Thor to Dark World...
Yep.
They called it the Ether, which is the Reality Stone.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
They gave that to the Collector in an end credit scene.
That's when they finally dropped the name Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
So it made sense.
It was there since Thor the Dark World. I cannot fucking say Thor.
Thor.
But it's been there, and of course, Thor knew where Thanos was gonna go, so they split up into two teams. It was Groot, Rocket, and oh my God, Thor. Thor's gonna fucking kill me. They went
he's killing Thanos, man.
Yeah, they went to go build his new axe or new hammer, whatever you want to call it. And
he just wanted a hammer. And...
Then Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, and Mantis.
Yep.
They went to Nowhere. And when you
to prevent him from getting the Reality Stone.
To prevent them from getting it. And when you go there, it's all nice and pretty still, but it's just kind of deserted.
Yep.
And
he's...
Thanos is literally got... There was a part, I think one of the trailers, where his boot was on the Collector's chest or whatever. Or maybe it might have been...
no, it was in the movie.
No, I mean, but there was like before... I'm just saying people haven't seen it. He had his boot on his chest, and he's like, "Where's the Reality Stone?" He's like, "Oh, I didn't know there was."
I sold it.
I sold it. Like, he's just giving him all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Drax is like ready to pounce on him because he blames Thanos for killing his wife and kids, which is true. And he's getting ready to do it, and before he does it,
sleep.
Mantis does her sleep thing, and he falls over, and he makes his loud ass noise, and Thanos hears it. And then with the quickness,
it's on at that point.
With the quickness, Gamora kills Thanos, like, legitly, like, or...
I think that's a shocker moment. You're like, no.
And then even Star-Lord, in my mind, is what I was thinking. Star-Lord was like, that was quick.
Yeah.
And that was easy. Like, you hit the easy button.
As Drax is waking up in front of Star-Lord, it's like, that was quick.
But Thanos already had...
No. Before he revealed it, Gamora was crying. And your core's like, you hated the motherfucker, right?
Yeah, you hated that motherfucker.
It's a very complex relationship. It's a very complex... It's all...
He took her at a very, very young age.
So. Which is shown to us, too. Right before the scene, she has a flashback about when he was assaulting her planet, and that's when he took her. Which also gives a little enlightenment on his motivation, because he does spill it out. It's like the universe needs to be balanced. You know, here's a physical representation. The knife. Look at that. Perfectly balanced.
Maybe hold right.
That's what the universe needs to be like.
He already had...
It worked so well.
By the time they already got there, he had the Reality Stone.
He already had it, and the Collector's probably dead.
And so he's monologuing, and he...
Basically, he's an actor.
Yeah.
Because he created that entire scenario for them.
He created this scenario, and he turns it back on, and it just... You see this red shit, which is the ether from the dark.
Which is so much cooler than what the Dark Elves made it out to be.
Yeah. And you get the real reality, and Nowhere's on fire. He destroyed it completely.
It's so great.
I'm guessing the Collector's dead.
Yeah, probably.
I'm assuming.
Unless he booked it.
I don't know. Thanos isn't the type of person you just book it off after if you see him. I don't know. I'm saying the Collector's dead. But,
I would say the same.
Yeah, and then before all that though, Gamora told Star-Lord, he said, if Thanos gets a hold of me, you have to kill me.
Because I know some stuff that...
And she couldn't tell him.
Would doom everyone if he
And it was about the Soul Stone, so... Star-Lord is going to actually kill her. Like, Thanos is holding her. And he's going to do it. And before he does it, his gun shoots literally bubbles. If y'all remember those little toy bubble guns, you remember that shit?
Yeah.
That's exactly what his did.
He pushed him. He was testing him. And he even says it. He pulls that, like, father figure moment.
He's like,
right before they warp out of there, he's like, I like him. It's like she needs your approval, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Oh man. Actually, the reality takedowns of Drax and Mantis, kind of very comic booky, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, he turned Drax into like blocks or some
of
shit.
Clay,
And
reminded
then
me of.
Mantis looked like silly string or some shit.
She became a twirl, or like all her body's kind of sprung out.
Like what were those Wonder?
They were still alive.
The Wonder Ribbon things.
Yeah.
Yeah. She and her eye was still blinking. That was weird.
but of course, the moment he was gone, the effect wore off. You know, he's not controlling reality, which I guess is not permanent changes in anything. He has to be in the vicinity.
Yeah, because that would have been a sudden death, like a shock sudden death
and
for two characters just
actually,
like that.
In my first showing, people did react as if that was death.
Their deaths.
Yeah. They're like, oh, there's Drax. He was in a fucking trailer. I don't believe shit now. And stuff like that. Which they did trailer trickery.
They did it a lot.
Because
they're getting good at it, and it's scary.
Okay, like when Star Wars was talking to Stark, and he was like, alright, about this plan of yours. I think it's a good plan, except it sucks. So let me make the plan, and that way it can actually be good. If you watch that in the trailer, you can tell they're on Titan. You can tell the main Guardians are there. But when you watch the movie, Doctor Strange is in the background.
Yeah.
So, trailer trickery.
Yeah, well, they had that part on Titan too, where Spider-Man is swinging by himself in the trailer, swinging everywhere. Yeah. But in the movie, he's got there's Iron Spider suit on with the legs and everything is sick, and he's swinging with Mantis.
He's
right?
saving Mantis.
He's saving Mantis.
Then he follows up to save
Drax and Star-Lord.
And then was it Star-Lord?
Well, he said, I can't remember all your names.
Yeah, he said that while he was getting Drax. So, it was good teamwork. Let's just dive into the battle on Titan. So, they did have the initial surprise, but Thanos is such a brute force that no matter of surprise attack or that, just, it wasn't enough of an edge.
They had like a hybrid. It was kind of cool because they had like a half Guardian, half Avengers together fighting Thanos. And
even though Stephen Strange is not an Avenger.
Yeah, technically he's not.
He's freelance.
But they had that surprise moment, and they were giving Thanos a good run for his money. But like, what I liked is Thanos was like countering everything with his gauntlet and the stones, man.
Like when he busted out of that giant ass like ship looking rock pillar that right at the get go, Iron Man uses that offset gravity that Titan has already got going on for itself to slam into Thanos first and foremost. He bursts out of that with the Power Stone, uses the Reality Stone to turn all those into bats, and then he just swarms Iron Man with them. Which, freaky.
Well, the one part I liked with Iron Man shot all these rockets at him, and all the fires engulfed around him, but he like absorbs all of it,
and then flamethrowers it right back at him.
Flamethrowers it right back. I was like, man.
Which doesn't burn Iron Man, actually, like Dragon Ball Z, like beam blasts him through a structure.
Yeah.
Like it takes it off with him. That's some powerful shit, man.
Yeah.
There was another time when they had that little conversation where he's like, Stark, you know me? Yeah, you're not the only one cursed with the burden of knowledge. And Iron Man's response is, my only curse is you. And he fires off rockets from his back. I swear, Thanos says, come on, when he braces for the impact of those rockets.
I don't know. I didn't hear what he said.
Well, your third viewing, you'll see.
I know. I probably will. My third.
You will be enlightened on your third viewing.
I'll be like Ebony Maw. He sounded like a priest for Thanos. He's like, "You're about to be killed by Thanos."
And I think that's
like perfect. It was an honor to be killed by. I'm like, dude, you're fucking sick.
So, a lot of things that people are bringing up is when they did finally coordinate and got him pinned down.
If you're a fan of Star-Lord, you better fucking hate him after this movie.
A lot of people.
I understand his aggression, though. I understand why he's mad. But dude, even
Tony's screaming at him. Chill it. We almost got this off.
They have Drax is holding a leg. Spider-Man and Iron Man are pulling the gauntlet off, and
Mantis is doing her best keeping him
asleep, or trying to anyway. And like they have all this shit going, and he's like, "Where's Gamora?" And Nebula's like, "Well, if the Soul Stone is here and she's not, she's dead."
And he mourns.
Yeah.
That was another thing, because, of course, Mantis is giving us play-by-play of what he's feeling. That's her thing, I guess.
And he goes off. He's like, "You didn't need to kill her," and
My Gamora, bullshit.
Yeah.
Good.
I liked Star-Lord in this
dialogue.
movie for his shit talking, man.
Because I will shoot the nutsack chin of yours right off.
He talked shit to Thanos like so bad. I'm like, dude, you
Do you even know? You didn't see the first scene, all right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be talking this kind of shit if you saw what he did to the Hulk.
He was talking so much mad crap to him, man, and I liked that Star-Lord for that. But then when he got upset because Gamora was dead, and he fucking took the butt of his gun and just started beating shit out of Thanos' face.
But to kind of publicly defend Star-Lord and why it was kind of inevitable in one way or another, think about it. We had 2 Guardians filmed where kind of like in the first one you could tell there's something going on, but then she kind of shuts that shit down.
Yeah.
Then the second one, he keeps calling it an unspoken thing, and she just denies it until the end, while they're watching the fireworks, and she's like, "Oh, it's just an unspoken thing," and they don't have a sappy romantic moment. All he has is an arm around her, and it just brings her close while they watch the spectacle. That's it. That's the closest they've got. This film finally gives us a kiss.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it gives us a "I love you," but not just any kind of "I love you." While the gun's pointed at her, she says, "I love you more than anything else."
Yeah.
And he's probably thinking in his head, "Oh shit! Like a minute ago, I just called myself a long-term booty call. Now I wish I didn't say that. I wish I would have said something more romantic."
He's like a Titan-killing long-term booty call.
I love it.
Star-Lord has some good moments, but that moment where they had the glove off basically,
but
like it was off.
But his reaction, if you think about what previous scenes and his interactions with her gave us, finally, that's what it gave to him.
Yeah.
He got it. He got this moment. He got when it came to her, he probably wouldn't have cared about any other bitch in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Because, boom, he could be happy now. She understands him. She showed us in Guardians 2, she listens to him too. Because she's like, "Remember when you were telling me about David Hasselhoff and all that?" Like, apparently she's been paying attention. Another thing that this film also gave us is they're way more tight to where he's listening to his music, which is Rubber Band Man. She's singing to it. Whereas, like, Drax is asleep, Rocket's like, "Fuck," and Mantis is doing her fucking thing in the back. Groot is playing on the game. Fucking great. Like, not only is dialogue important for you to fill in these motivations and infos that a lot of these people are just kind of flinging questions about, so is the visuals. The smallest things can tell you a lot. Like her singing the song. She's there now. Hell, they could have been engaged and it would have been better earned than Pepper Potts and Iron Man.
Yeah.
So, I support him freaking the fuck out, because if I found love like that, I would fight for it. I really would. You can follow me, David Foruria, on Twitter.
That was a great segue. You did that really good. Gotta give you props on that.
So, I defend Star-Lord. Also, if Stephen Strange seen 14,605,000
that's
outcomes...
very important to know. He saw so many different outcomes.
I also said the exact number.
I think you did.
I did. No, I did. He let this happen.
Over 14 million.
14,605,000
outcomes.
Yep.
One time the Avengers win.
Yep.
Out of 14 million.
He let all that happen.
Because he knew. He looked at all this shit.
Even though he knew, and he probably already had his mindset, it's like, that's what we gotta do. He saw himself fight, because what did he do? He did have a one-on-one with Thanos. And that was brutal stuff.
Your Doctor Strange was badass in his one-on-one.
Shadow Clone Jutsu?
When he split into many different Doctor Stranges.
That was cool.
That was fucking sick, man.
That's like probably very comic booky, because he did the arms thing, and then you got like the Shiva imagery.
Yeah.
Before it went into multiple clones. I felt that moment as like, I probably grabbed a Doctor Strange comic, and he's done that one or two several times. That's great.
Then,
he broke through the mirror dimension.
Yeah, he did.
He's like, fuck your shit.
And he used that glass too, didn't he? The mirror.
He transfixed it into a void and then threw that at Doctor Strange. And while that black hole was kind of like making its way towards him, he did his mystic arts shit and went put a barrier up. And the moment it hit the barrier, it became butterflies.
Yeah.
Which then gave him the moment to do the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Go around. They all did the whip. And the only way Thanos got out of that is he used the Power Stone and went... big old wave.
I know a lot of people.
I've seen this 3 times.
A lot of people like Mr. Tony Stark, Iron Man. But
it's cool.
He put up a hell of a fight, and like Thanos is literally just ripping this armor off. Every time it came back on, it went right back off. Like Thanos was fucking him up.
Now pay attention to that next time you view, because like I said, he only has so many nanites.
Yeah.
It's nanotech. There's only so much. It's not an infinite amount. So because this shit's getting knocked off and destroyed, and he's used up a lot towards the end of this fight, they're shifting around. Like when he's doing a beam at Thanos to keep him away, and he's just coming at him, he takes some armor from his leg to go up his other arm, and he does a second beam. Of course, Thanos shows up and smacks him. And
well, then he makes a blade.
When he makes that blade, that all comes from his left side. Misses. Thanos grabs it, snaps it, and he had opening because the nanites that were there are now here.
Yeah.
So, it's genius choreography.
And the first time in the theater for me for that, people were like instant, like, oh, there's our Iron Man death. Like, there's our Iron Man
I thought it was, actually.
I did too, but then, like, Thanos has a good line in him. Like, he's like, I guess the face of the Avengers, and he's like, I hope they remember you. And I'm just like, he's like, this is it. Like, he's dead.
When I'm done, half of humanity will still be alive. And I hope they remember you.
Yeah. He had a good line for him, and then that's when Doctor Strange pops in, and he's like, look, you let him live, I'll give you the time stone.
Which goes against what he said before on the Flying Donut.
He said,
because he says, when it comes down to your life, the kid's life, or the time stone, I will not hesitate to defend the time stone with my life.
Yep.
And then the fact, after that, he does the whole
14 million
outcomes.
And that had to be the one where he
says it.
I have to give it. This is the only chance, really.
what he said was, this was the only way? Or
yeah.
There was only... This was
because Tony asked him, why'd you do it? And he said, this is the only way.
And Strange knew he was going to disappear.
Yeah, he would have to know that, too.
That's a leap of faith, dude.
He would have to know that, too.
That's a hell of a leap of faith.
So now he's putting all this weight on Tony, basically.
Mm-hmm. But I think, not because it's Robert Downey Jr. and he's probably your best seller in the forefront. Honestly, out of all characters who deserves to be the next driving force, because I mentioned Thor has a hell of an arc, and he gets the most deserving moment in just this standalone film.
Mm-hmm.
The character that gets the best stake at driving the final assault in this next Avengers film, Tony. And he even lays it out on us. He's like, Thanos has been in my head for 6 years. Alright? He's been... Everything he's ever done in Phase 2 and 3 is because of his near-death experience carrying that nuke to the Chitauri control ship. And Iron Man 3 elaborates on that. And that's why, once again, I have to reinforce the importance of Iron Man 3. Because it shows us, it brings it into focus what Tony is going to do for the rest of his life. He's on a hell-bent mission that is not, like, to us on the outside, looks fucking batshit crazy. But to him, he's got to do something. So when Wanda gets in his head, and Captain America's illusion is speaking to him, is like, you could have saved us, you could have done more. That's his driving force. That's why he makes a shitload of suits. That's why he makes the Iron Legion. That's why he thought up of Ultron, and the moment he had that chance, he went for it. That's why when guilt was thrown at him, he finally took that breathing moment. It's like, you know what? Okay, I'll be put in check. Because he's gotten a lot of guilt trips because of the shit that this driving force has caused him. But then, when it's said to him by Doctor Strange and Banner, and they're like, dude, this is the shit. This is what you were scared of. It brings it all back.
Yeah.
So, who's the most deserving to lead the Avengers? It's Iron Man. But if you ask me who I feel is the most deserving to kill Thanos, I say Drax.
Him or Thor.
Well, now Thor, but Drax I used to say all this time because not only what he was told us in his movies, but his original origin in the comics, the original Drax was created solely for the purpose to kill Thanos.
And he ripped his heart out like Mortal Kombat style.
Yeah, he did kill Thanos that way. in one version or other. I can't remember if that was the actual Infinity War or what. So I'm like, if Drax gets to, and of course Drax keeps taking opportunities.
But is it me, or since Drax has been introduced, has he like been undersold and underpowered to you? Like, you look at the first Guardians against Ronan. Ronan, like, picked him up and chokeslammed him like he was a bitch or some shit.
I think his power is not strength, it's durability. Because think about it, he was like flying in space and then smacking on trees. And then he's taken several punches from like Ronan, Thanos, so on and so forth. Like, he is durable as fuck.
Yeah.
And maybe that helps reinforce that funny joke he makes where he's got at the gun barrel of Tony Stark and he's like, "Do it, Quill, I can take it."
I can take it.
Maybe he could, actually.
He might be able to.
Like, we all think, no, you can't. That's not possible. It's like,
he might be able to.
Maybe, actually, because I've seen him go through some weird shit.
Alright, now.
My nipples!
Act 3. The final battle.
Oh, we've been talking a bit about Act 3, but the Wakanda battle.
The Wakanda battle.
You can't talk about the Battle of Wakanda without talking about 3 of the Black Order.
Yeah.
So...
I know a lot of people didn't like the prequel Star Wars. But watching that Wakanda battle, I got nothing but episode 1.
You can say Gungans.
When the Gungans had their barrier up, the droids were fucking just walking to it, but they were just able to walk through it. You couldn't shoot through it. This barrier, if you tried to walk through it, like cut your arm off and shit.
Boom. If you forced yourself through it.
Yeah. And the Black Order sends out, they look like bloodhounds. They have like 4 arms.
Some people are calling them mini Venoms.
Yeah, kind of. They're just ugly looking and like...
Outrider.
One of the, is it Proxima Midnight is her name?
The chick?
She has a good line that I like, and she's like, "We have blood to spare."
Oh, no.
Because Black Panther said...
No, it's like Thanos
is in Wakanda now.
And it's just like, you're in Wakanda, Thanos will only get blood and dust.
And she's like, we got blood to spare. And she was not lying. She calls them down, and they all run to that barrier, and they did not care about dying.
I love Bucky's reaction while he's watching them all run towards the barrier. He's just like, what the...
Yeah, because it is like a what the fuck moment. They don't even care that they're dying. Like, they don't. They ran straight into
Okoye calls it out.
Yeah.
They're killing themselves.
And, so now all these creatures are trying to go around the barrier.
And I'm glad Banner was the one who called it out, too.
Yeah.
Because, like...
he's in the tallest suit. Like I said, no Hulk for the rest of the movie. He's in the Hulkbuster suit.
He's the smartest person on the field, too.
Yeah. But, so, in order to keep them from going around, they have to open up a portion of the barrier.
Which makes sense, technically, because that's Tactics 101.
Yeah. But and this is where my favorite couple of parts comes up, because on his mark, Black Panther tells Shuri to open up.
I don't know if it was Shuri, actually.
This would have sounded like her on that radio.
But if you think about it, Shuri was busy.
Yeah.
It could have been just some control unit person.
But he yells out, "Wakanda forever," crosses his arms, and they all just full sprint. Now here's this is a little part I loved so much. I don't know why.
It's so great.
Captain America and Black Panther are like full sprint. Like, everybody's running. The whole Wakanda army.
Full on Lord of the Rings armies are clashing moment.
They are running, and Captain America and Black Panther are like at the lead. Like, and they both like jump over a little lake or a little river.
A little lake, river,
creek. A little creek or whatever. And they are they are the very first 2 to hit the horde. Like,
and that's the difference between leader and boss.
And they were that part where they were full sprinting. Probably the only time you ever see a white guy beat a bunch of black guys in a race. If you're a super soldier. But like, it was the coolest part of the movie.
And they didn't even start at the front. Because
neither one of them started at the front.
Yeah, they're like the middle row.
Yeah.
When everything. Well, not Black Panther, but.
Well, yeah, Black Panther.
Steve was for sure because he was next to Bucky, and they were like second row.
And man, then you just see good. It was that whole part of them running, and then another part I liked. It had a little girl power moment.
Mm-hmm.
We had Black Widow, Okoye is how you pronounce her name.
Okoye. And
then Scarlet Witch joins in later, and they're just beating up Proxima Midnight, like kicking her ass. And
well, it's a pretty even fight for the majority of it, actually. Like, she swats away Scarlet Witch and Okoye.
She dies kind of horrible, though.
She focuses on Scarlet, or on Black Widow, and right before she got a killing blow in is when Scarlet Witch just decides to grab her, fling her up into one of those.
Like they were like spinning wheels of death that came from the underground.
You know, if we're comparing to the prequels of Star Wars, those remind me of the thing that General Grievous grabbed in to get away from Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Just a bigger version.
I'm just saying, man.
What's with Thanos' obsession with circular things?
Yeah, the big donut things in the sky.
Maybe it's because of balance. A circle is balanced.
Son of a bitch.
The circle of life.
The circle of life. Holy shit. It all makes so much sense.
We are solving this shit right now.
But the Wakanda battle, I liked more than the Civil War airport scene. I would say it was better than that. Because then later on, Thor shows up.
Actually, before that. You remember in the first Avengers when they divvied out responsibilities and Thor's just like, you're best suited to bottleneck the
portal.
The incoming. Rhodey took up that responsibility in this battle.
Yeah, Rhodey, man.
Because it was just a small portion of that. And you notice, like, before it was even open, he carpet bombed that shit.
Yeah, because they were still getting through some of the barrier.
And I don't know why, but I love the sound effect when he was dropping them.
I thought maybe thought maybe it was a new suit because I was just so used to the Iron Man 2 suit where he had the minigun on the back, and he had no minigun at first.
No, they popped up eventually.
Yeah, it popped up eventually, I guess.
Rocket launchers actually popped up, too.
Yeah.
And he just bottlenecked that shit until, I think Proxima took a shot at him. He knocked him down.
Yeah.
But he took on that role, and actually, that's a good strategy right there. That's 300 strategy right there.
The Wakanda battle, man, it was...
Epic.
Fucking M'Baku getting the army all chanted up, and they were just chatting. Oh, man, it was... I liked it way better than the airport scene. Even though the airport scene is up there, I still liked it better.
Is it your number 2 then?
The airport scene?
Actually, Civil War in general. Is that your number 2 now?
Oh, movie? Yeah. This
is your number 1 now.
This will be number 1 until probably Avengers 4 comes out. But
Thor. That's the moment, no matter
if
what
you're
crowd...
a Thor fan, they make him look so overpowered in this movie.
It's so epic. Well, he's the god of thunder. Seductive god of thunder.
He took the force of a star to build his weapon.
To his ass.
Literally to his ass and back. And then when his weapon gets created, they can't find a handle. So Groot literally uses his arm as a handle. And he breaks it off, and Thor now has his new weapon.
When it's complete, it does the same shit like in Thor 1. Comes to him, brand new suit. He's all healed up and he's good to go.
And what Peter Dinklage said was true. He opened the Bifrost and he fucking transported all the way back to Wakanda.
With Groot and Rocket,
and then
Rocket on his shoulder. I think maybe that's the biggest reason why people are cheering, because it's not just Thor showing up to wreck shit.
Thor,
Rocket, and Groot, but the fact that Rocket is on Thor's shoulder helps visually reinforce that this is a conjoined effort. Everybody's in on it. And just like that concept art that was released maybe a year or 2 ago and showed Thor with Stormbreaker and rockets there firing, but they're not, like that's like reminiscent of like the first Guardians, because he's on Groot's back firing away as they're spinning around.
Yeah.
So that is a moment where you're like, it right out the get-go, it's a visual representation that helps get that emotional out of you. You know what I mean?
Then Thor...
So it's great. It's genius. Hell, actually... You know what I constantly hear from a lot of people? The moment the Bifrost shows up and the Stormbreaker is out breaking down people and zapping people, a lot of people wanted and half expected Led Zeppelin to start playing.
I thought that's what... in Ragnarok, that was his thing. That was the only song I think they played in that movie.
They played it twice in the movie Ragnarok.
Yeah. I thought that was his thing, so I thought they were going to do that again, and then it didn't hit, and I was like,
do you think the film would have suffered if they put it in there, or would have been better? Even for a small moment.
You could have played it for like a minute, maybe 30 seconds. I would have been alright with it. Like, I don't think it would have threw anything off.
However, it might have interrupted what he said before he even does a full-on attack.
He says,
Bring me Thanos!
Yeah.
Which is now t-shirts and memes and everything.
So, maybe it would have threw that off a little bit.
Jumps up, and when he collects thunder and goes into striker mode, basically he's a ground pounder right now, at that moment. That's when I hear the most cheers. Right there. Him showing up the Bifrost, that's a wave of cheers.
The first initial when he landed wasn't his big cheers when he hit the
air,
ground.
about to zap, pound everybody. That's where the crowd is going wild, and I actually became more of a Thor. Wow, you fucked me.
I know. I'm telling you, it's a sickness.
Thor.
Thor.
I became more of a Thor fan after these last.
I mean, if you're a Thor fan, you will love this movie.
You are awesome.
He is.
I don't know.
It starts off pretty shitty for him because Thor or Thanos ready to beat his ass because he's on the floor bloody.
Oh no, it's shitty for him in the middle.
Yeah.
Because he gets an eye from Rocket. And in the dialogue, Rocket's like, ooh, I wouldn't watch. The only way I was able to get that off of the planet was I had to smuggle it in my boop, 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 and he gets interrupted. And you're like, oh, he put that up his ass.
That eye was in his ass, and you just put it in your socket now. Good job.
Chris Hemsworth is now showing he can be a comical actor. And so, I don't know why that moment, the close-up where he's trying to get the eye working, he's like, gah, gah, gah. I was like, that's funny. That's great. I would have been cool if the eye patch was on the whole time. But you know what occurred to me? If he didn't have that new eye, he wouldn't have seen the gauntlet off to the side. You know what I mean? Because that's the same side of what that would have been.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah.
Technically. So maybe that's why. That's why the decision was made eventually, because they're like, we really want that Thor and Thanos standoff moment, you know, them talking. And it'd be like, you should have gone for the head. It's like, what's that supposed to mean? What happened over there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe that was like, that's an awkward moment. Let's give him an eye. Well, how are we going to give him an eye? You know who has spare eyes?
Yep.
Rocket Raccoon.
Rocket Raccoon
His
had
obsession with
yeah, because he wanted Winter Soldier's arm.
Exactly. His obsession with these prosthetic limbs and whatnot and gadgets. It's reinforced in this. He's like, how much for the gun? Which is weird. That's the first question. He's like, the gun's not for sale. He's like, all right, how much for the arm? Bucky doesn't even bother answering him.
Give him guns and prosthetic limbs, and he'll be happy, I guess.
Wait till he meets Tony.
Yeah. Even after this movie, you still will have characters who have never met.
You got stuff to look forward to still in that department.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can't wait for.
You have a lot of characters who haven't physically seen the Hulk. Doctor Strange, Black Panther, they have not physically seen the Hulk.
That'd be some scary shit. They've seen video, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably.
Hell, actually, one of the questions of the Hulkbuster armor is like, how the fuck is it there in Wakanda?
Yeah.
One theory is like whatever was left over after what went down on that one, I think, South Africa city. They probably went down and grabbed it, took it to Wakanda. It's like, all right, let's check this shit out. That's one theory. The other one is they could have just brought it from the Avengers HQ when they went over there. Who knows?
But if you are, like I said, if you were a fan of Hulk, you'd probably be disappointed with this movie. But also, if you're a fan of Vision, I think you
are so upset about him.
He got his ass whooped this whole movie, man.
Yeah, yes he did.
The first time when they were in Scotland and the first time I saw it and he got stabbed, I literally jumped.
Everybody did.
I did, but was just not expecting it at all. Like, and he gets his ass...
It was good timing.
He does have a badass girlfriend because his girlfriend protected the shit out of him.
I don't mind if the woman is stronger than me.
Buttercup all day.
You can follow me on Twitter. I said hashtag.
But he gets his ass whooped through this whole movie, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end...
Well, he does have some moments where he's pretty damn strong.
Yeah.
But he was wounded at the get-go.
He was. From the very get-go, he was wounded.
And he even says it in the dialogue. The spear
stops him from phasing.
It's preventing me from phasing. And they're like, is that possible? He's like, it's not supposed to. This is fucked up.
But at the end... Of course, Thanos has 5 of the 6, and he's coming, of course. Mm-hmm. And which is what I thought was cool. Thanos' army is retreating because all the children of Thanos are dead. No. He's actually teleporting back in to fight and get the last stone. And of course, the last stone is on Vision's head. And Scarlet Witch has to make an ultimate decision to kill him because in order to get the stone destroyed, she has to kill him.
And Vision has a great line towards that. He's like, it's not fair, but it has to be you.
Yeah.
You know? Basically, he's saying, if it could have been anybody else, I'd rather have it be somebody else. I don't want it to be you who has to do this, but this has to be done. And another good theme, when it focused around the whole decision about, Vision, his life and all that, is, and it's a theme outside of the Avengers and Earth and all that, is they don't trade lives. When is it that one life is worth more than others or something like that? The value of life is kind of the Avengers stance point, where they stand on this is every life is important. Whereas Thanos, he's not disagreeing. He's like, yes, life is important, but the universe is finite. There's only so much resources, and if life is unchecked, it will kill itself by accident.
Yep.
And he even says it. I'm the only one who has the motivation to do it.
The will to do it.
The will to do it. And I think that's his true superpower, is he's motivated as fuck.
He's also just strong as shit, too.
Yeah, but that's probably, just a flat out race thing, his planet and whatnot, whatever. I don't think he, went and got strong in some mysterious way. But
just poor Vision, man. Like, he got his ass whooped this whole movie. He didn't get to
If he was tip-top shape, though, things would have been easier.
Probably.
So that makes sense.
Like, yeah, if you had a full power Vision and a Hulk in this movie, actually, the Black Order and Thanos probably wouldn't have stood a chance.
And Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
She can function.
But, like, poor Vision, man, he got his ass whooped this whole movie. He didn't get to make beautiful red babies with Scarlet Witch.
She could be pregnant.
She could be. And at the end, okay, I didn't time this, but someone in the internet needs to time this. How quickly he dies with 2 times. He dies twice. Very quickly.
First by the one who loves.
The Scarlet Witch destroys the Mind Stone and it kills him.
Let's take a moment. Just a quick... While she's doing that, and Thanos has already swatted away everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
She does take, after she was a second beam to him, goes to Thanos, and she's actually holding him back. He's using the gauntlet.
She's strong as shit.
She's
not using all her power, but she's strong as shit.
That's fucking impressive. But yeah, she destroys an Infinity Stone.
Yeah, she destroyed the Infinity Stone. Vision's dead.
The Mind Stone.
And
he cracks away too, right before it happens. It is brutal.
Yeah. And Thanos walks up and he's like, "It's okay, my child."
Awkward, rapey, touching my hair.
That was a little awkward. I don't think they should have did it. And
but that's actually how he
Thanos has the Time Stone at this point. All right.
Yep.
And all he does is walk up to the spot that Vision died at, and rewinds it, and it all comes back, like his face and everything. It looks really fucking cool. And he swats away Scarlet Witch.
He even turns it off to where Vision is fully alive. And even Vision has a moment like, oh, fuck!
And he just picks him up, and the way he digs his hand...
With his normal hand.
His fingers into Vision's skull, and he just plucks that fucking stone out.
It's so... And he has that...
Thanos would make Mortal Kombat jealous. He was so fucking brutal in this movie, man.
And Vision, we get to see it, a low shot of his feet, have that man at the gallows kind of like... someone who just hung themselves kind of tweaking. And the whole graying out effect kind of is another secondary gut punch. You're like, ooh.
Yeah, they completely grayed him out. He wasn't green and red.
He gross.
He did.
And then just...
And threw him away like he was
nothing.
Paper or some shit. Like...
Oh, man.
And then Thanos gets all the stones, and he's getting all full powered. And
which... Unlike all the other times he put a stone to the gauntlet, when he finally had all of them, you actually see, like, multicolored...
Yeah, all the colors ran through his veins and shit.
Like, glittering, kind of, glimmering. It was cool. It didn't seem, awkward or...
And then, of course, the now overpowered Thor is throwing his axe
No.
and shit.
He blasts him with lightning first.
Yeah.
So it knocks him back, and then he follows up, because
The
Thanos
gauntlet.
is, like... About to shoot him down, basically.
And then he throws the axe.
Throws the axe, and it's like DBZ, multi-beams hit. Instead of this, the axe goes through all that shit. That's pretty fucking crazy.
And it lands right in his chest. And, like, Thor comes up and he's like, "I told you would die for that," because at the beginning of the movie, he killed Heimdall, and he said, "I will kill you for that."
Presses it in, too.
Yeah, he even presses it in more.
You're like, ooh, he's getting that moment he wanted.
And Thanos is kind of like huffing and puffing. He's like, "You should have aimed for the head." And then he snaps.
I can't snap with my left hand.
I can barely snap at all. But he snapped.
You can't use the finger.
And then it kind of goes off in a weird direction. I want to say that's the soul realm, isn't it?
Probably. That's what everybody's saying.
He sees little baby daughter Gamora. And
she asked him,
"Did
you do it?
Did you do it? And was it worth it?
And
or how much did you lose?"
No. And then the weird conviction kind of... The way he says it, too, when he answers her, she's like, "Did you do it?" And he almost chokes it out. Yes. Almost like he's on the verge of crying. And then she's like, what did it cost?
But he told Doctor Strange...
Everything.
In my words, this is not his words, but he told Doctor Strange, he's like, look, I'm going to kill all y'all, and then I'm going to go watch the sunrise. Like, and that's what he does. At the end of the movie, it's him sitting down watching the sunrise.
Yeah, and specifically sunrise. Not sunset, like other people online are saying. They're mishearing him. Sunrise, because it's also symbolic. Instead of the day ending, it's a new day.
Yeah.
It's a new era, that kind of thing. He wants to sit back and watch the sunrise of a thankful universe.
Yeah, and he did it. And he's like...
Or grateful universe.
I'm going to kill y'all. I'm going to watch the sunrise.
He does show mercy in its traditional form. Other than his genocide, and he chops that up as mercy, he does show traditional mercy. Like when he makes deals. I'll give you the stone for Tony's life. He even has that moment where he looks and he's like, alright, not bad. Oh, that's okay. Fine. I can deal with this fucker easily.
You just wipe the floor with him, yeah.
So... he's a complex villain, and I love it. And, like I said, the smallest things, like that way he chokes up the answers to his visionary daughter, that's like the most raw emotion. Like, I don't think you can hide your emotions in that fucking realm. And then it whisks back to, that gauntlet is fucked up.
Oh, yeah, it's cracked.
Did you see his arm?
Yeah, his arm was all burnt,
It goes all the way up to his neck, like almost Iron Man 2 moment where that whatever was killing Tony went up his neck. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, he was all burnt.
I know it's not the same thing.
But...
it went and fucked him up, and he has a chest wound.
The gauntlet still worked after that, because he teleported out of there.
We don't know how much more it will work for.
Yeah, but I'm saying...
maybe that wasn't...
at that initial moment, it still worked. Mm-hmm. And he got the hell out of there, and then...
thankfully, Stormbreaker fell out when he left.
Some other... a lot more deaths are about to come y'all's way. So
I call it the culling every... because the other reference you could give it is rapture, and that's too religious for me. It's also inaccurate, because that would be like, good people. This is half of all people.
The first one was...
another piece of dialogue that helps reinforce this, because some people are like, well, why was so-and-so picked, or so-and-so? I mean, yeah, at the production level, and the story writers and all that, they literally do have to pick. They don't just, like, Yahtzee cup it. But to help reinforce stuff, in a piece of dialogue on Titan, when he's explaining what happened to his planet, he said, I suggested, like, a lottery. Half of the population, by random, didn't matter if you're rich, poor, or anything. No, it was fair. It was unbiased, non-judgmental. So that was probably the settings he set up for when he wanted to erase half of everybody. So, if you're bitching about, they only did Black Panther to get emotional value, well, that's from the writers. I guarantee
which is the most, for me, that's the most shocking one to disappear.
Yeah.
Because when you see that scene, Black Panther's...
no. You're skipping a guy.
I know.
You're doing like the rest of the internet. Don't skip him.
I know. There's Winter Soldier,
there you go.
Then Black Panther?
Yep. No. Black Panther then Groot. Because you hear Okoye yelling in the background while we're watching Rocket react to Groot.
Black Panther's literally, like, he's creeping around, he's walking around to Okoye, and, like...
this is no place to
when
die.
you see this shit happening, you're like, Okoye's gonna die.
Bye.
She's gonna be gone. No, when they grab arms, his arm starts disappearing. I'm like, what?
You don't get to see him fully in frame. That's the other part that's deceptive.
Yeah, it's
that's
just his
very
arm.
Clever cinematography, because it once again, gut punch.
Yeah.
That's very clever cinematography.
I was not expecting him. Not even a little bit. Gone.
After Bucky honestly had a very emotional moment, because he was the first one we saw go. But what does he say? Steve.
But you know what?
He just goes, Steve.
The people who did die died in front of someone very, very close to them.
Oh, not Sam, because no one saw him go.
I know, that's kind of...
That's sad.
Marvel's showing their favoritism towards Iron Man, because why did he get to keep his black sidekick? War Machine lived. Falcon did not. They hate Captain America. But anyway, you had Winter Soldier die in front of Steve Rogers.
Maybe you need to give Captain America the same kind of arc as Thor.
Yeah.
Give him motivation.
Then you had Groot die.
And that's sad.
In front of Rocket.
This last screening we had, that's the one that got a lot.
A lot of people were sad that Groot died again.
A lot.
Well, yeah, because he did die in a...
Can you imagine if it was Baby Groot?
Oh, people would have. Oh, they would have.
Oh,
They would have. There would have
flip
been
table.
There would have been fire and pitchforks at Marvel Studios. Like, are you serious, guys? Baby Groot? No, I'm glad they did Teen Groot. They would have did Baby Groot.
Just Ego squishing him was enough for people to be like, no.
Scarlet Witch died over Vision's dead body.
Yeah, she was mourning him and all that. That's sad.
Like we said, Falcon died by himself, which is
Sam.
kind of disappointing. Yeah, he didn't die in front of anybody.
Half of Wakandans out in the battlefield.
Yeah, and Baku witnessed.
Baku's like, what the fuck?
He's just looking like, are you fucking kidding me?
I was waiting for him to say, like, what the fuck? Or what the hell?
And then, pretty much everybody on Titan died except for,
Tony and
Nebula. Yeah,
Now,
my first screen...
there's two people on Titan that usually always get a reaction. I would say there is a potential third. It's no reaction. Mantis, she's new. She doesn't have that much following.
Really, still pretty new.
And she was also the first one to predict it. She's like, something's happening.
And she did.
Gone. Drax was next. That almost got reactions.
Then Star-Lord.
And he's like, oh man, that's that potential third one. What I'm saying was, at that moment, Doctor Strange says, Tony. There was no other way. You don't even see it edging his way. No, it is a close-up to here. He gets all the necessary dialogue out, and then he just kind of patiently waits, and he's like, yeah, it was the only way. And that's another shock value. That's cinematography. Once again, getting the edge on you to surprise you, because I didn't think Stephen Strange was going to be one of them that was going to be, especially after seeing 3 go right there in front of us.
Yeah.
And then you hear
the biggest reaction you'll get is probably the Spider-Man one.
Peter Parker going, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. That's the moment you start hearing people go, oh no, but they don't even know.
And this goes back to Spider-Man Homecoming. He's like, you're my responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to hit Tony hard. Like,
well, I mean, Tony did defend it. He's like, I sent you back home. You defied me, and then you tried to blame me.
Yeah. But still, that's still going to hit him hard. Because that's always going to be his responsibility. Because he wanted to bring him in since the start.
Especially, it was in his own arms.
Yeah.
Holy shit. But I want to highlight, probably the most effective thing about with Peter and his disappearing was his dialogue. You started hearing the panic. Like, you could watch Saving Private Ryan, and you're seeing that dude holding his guts and crying for his mama. That's some hardcore, realistic shit.
Yeah.
You get a taste of that from when Peter is going, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. He's not saying, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to go. Which is kind of like the PG version of that. But it still gets the message across, and you're just like, God, no. And it's the proper dialogue. And then he goes right there in front of Tony in his own arms. And Tony fucked up, man. He's like,
Yeah, he should have never brought this young kid into it.
He's all kinds of fucked up for multiple reasons. And Nebula doesn't help shit because, he finally did it. Well, no shit, he finally did it. Whew. That's when everybody's quiet. There's not even music playing.
Yeah, there's no music playing.
No music playing for
You
any
only
of this.
hear the sounds of people disappearing.
Yeah, and it's a very, very recognizable. After you hear it the first couple times, it's very recognizable.
And you just hear people in the audience going like, no. Like,
no.
Like, dude, people were losing their shit when... This showing, yeah, it was Groot, but my first showing, people were up in arms when Spider-Man was dying.
Yep. Well, man.
But...
Black Panther is probably the biggest surprise.
That's the biggest shock for me.
The biggest emotional one is obviously Spider-Man.
It's easily the biggest shock for me because his movie just came out in February and it did amazing. And it's like, yeah, we'll make him disappear. Like,
well, they finished filming this before Black Panther.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying.
It's.
If you want to remember Black Panther, just go watch Black Panther because he'll die in Infinity War. At least for now.
We can all step away from this though. Before that happens, before the snap, any death before then we can take as permadeath. But the snap, just like in the comics, this is based off of. It's not a direct adaptation, but it is influenced by the events of the Infinity War, the Infinity Gauntlet comics. It is reversible. And of
They
course,
will
Marvel
find a way.
already shot themselves in the foot and revealed that they showed their cards because there is a Spider-Man sequel in the works. They announced there's going to be a Black Panther 2 eventually and stuff like that. And
Well,
there's
that's
a Guardians
just-
3.
That's just how to make money 101. If Black Panther did amazing, why would you not make a second one?
They probably planned it before
Yeah,
even
but,
that. But it got reinforced when it hit $1 billion. And you're like,
Most
Yeah,
people
definitely.
are speculating the people who did the whole disappearing into dust act will return.
there's even some saying that they're in the Soul Stone.
Go-
That's where they all
people
went.
like Gamora, Loki, Heimdall, maybe even Vision. They're probably all
And Collector.
and collect. They're all dead.
Dead.
They're gone. So no more
And
Loki.
Other than Gamora out of that list, I can accept them. As in, it's their time. Gamora, if she came back, I'd be okay with it because, like I said, her and Star-Lord got to where we wanted them.
Yeah.
And there's a Guardians 3, and I feel like that's a good dynamic that could be fun
Yeah,
to
I think
explore.
Tom Hiddleston and Idris Elba can hang it up for a bit, and they'll be alright.
That's fine.
They
got
played their parts. They
Yeah.
did them great.
Idris Elba had a career before any of these Thor movies, and Tom Hiddleston, the Thor movies put him on the map, and now he's off doing other stuff.
Hashtag Idris Elba for Jon Stewart as Green Lantern.
Hashtag Idris Elba for James Bond.
A black James Bond, is that a thing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Why not?
It's Idris Elba. I don't care. He's a
Hell,
good actor.
actually, a lot of people are petitioning for him to do it. He would be a badass James Bond.
I think it's because of the accent.
Well, he is British.
Yeah, I know.
So, I think we named practically everybody that we saw on screen. The question is, who did we not see that got whisked away as well? Because I said to him, I was like, can you imagine if Pepper was one of them? And how over the edge Tony will go?
Yeah.
He'll be unhinged.
And
You thought Thor had it bad. Tony...
And there are a couple people who were never on screen, which are Ant-Man and Hawkeye. We don't know if they disappeared because they're not...
But in dialogue, it did explain where they were.
Which I don't like. I think that was just...
Well, they're in the next one.
I would have thought it would... How cool would it have been to see a giant man on the field of Wakanda tearing up some fucking four-armed looking creatures?
Pretty cool. Do you think there's going to be an army in the next Avengers? Or is it just going to be straight up them versus Thanos?
I'm going to go with...
We might see the return of the Chitauri.
You know what? I want to see them versus Thanos. That's another little nitpick from this movie. Like, the very first Avengers, what did we get? We got all six of them back-to-back in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a nice shot of them.
Splash page.
I wanted to see that in this movie, and we didn't get that. Like...
It's a war!
You didn't even...
Not a brawl.
More characters didn't get to meet each other. Black Panther has not met Doctor Strange. Like, we have characters who have not met each other. Like, I can't get over that. Like, this has been 10 years of filming.
And they got more to come.
And they have not met each other. Like,
they're going to keep bringing in new people like Captain Marvel.
Which is a good segue into the end credit scene. People.
There's only one. Those credits are going to hit you, because if you got used to when the credits start...
I think they did that on purpose.
Well, yeah. If you got used to the credits rolling with the top billing, which is usually animated of some sort, and when the top billing's over, there's a mid-credit scene. And when that's done, then it goes into the credit crawl. And the only one that I know that kind of interrupts that formula is Guardians Volume 2, where it has 5, and it's spaced out through the entire credit crawl, where it will jump to something that goes on, and then back to the credits. Just one.
Stay to the very end. Stay to the very end.
Even the cast, when they were out doing junkets and on late night shows and all that, they were saying, it's just like, after they actually did finally get to see the movie in its entirety, they said, stay to the end. The entire end. And I always petition that. Everybody jokes about when they're in Marvel movies now, and when the credits are rolling, people are getting up and leaving. It's like, idiots.
Noobs.
Come on. You paid for a movie. Watch the whole movie.
So, the end credit scene, sir.
We get the voice of Nick Fury and Maria Hill. We're still at, like, black screen right now. While we're hearing, is this, like, still no sign from Stark? She's like, no, we're tracking every satellite in both hemispheres. If we get a ping, we'll know, blah, 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 that kind of shit. And it finally shows us from the back seat of whatever car they're driving. I don't want to see the model. And they're just kind of... Some people online have been saying New York, but the fact that Nick Fury says, is it the same signatures as New York? Kind of suggests they're not.
They're not in New
Why
York.
would you say in New York if you're in fucking New York? They just see street, tall buildings. Oh, it must be New York City. It could have been anywhere. All right, don't matter. They don't specify. It's probably not important right now. What is important is when they're driving,
people are disappearing.
Suddenly a car full on just uncontrollably goes into their lane, full on like 180 turns, slams into a parked car, and Maria calls it out. She's like, Nick! And he stops just in time. I'm holding back his knees.
So they
Stops
walk up
it.
to the car.
They do their civil duty, and it's just like, oh, yeah, are you alright? And then it starts hitting them.
There's nobody in the car.
There's nobody there. And I tried to tell you when it goes on, when you see Nick leave the driver's seat, look behind him, you see a toppled over motorcycle.
Someone disappeared off the motorcycle. I didn't notice it.
Yeah, I was like, motorcycle.
I saw that you pointed it out. I just didn't notice it right away.
And what I thought I saw in the second viewing, when they're making their way, so it's probably a Steadicam shot. They're going backwards, following them, so you're keeping it on them while they make it to that car to check it out. You see it's a commercial area, obviously, so you see what looks like a coffee shop, and there's like two people out there looking. It's like, what's going on? And what I thought I saw was one of the two people standing there goes, and gets whisked away, and the other person reacts to it quickly. And that's why I was kind of, and there's like the window. No, I think it's actually the light bending on windows and stuff like that, like we see every now and then, and it kind of redirects light, so it kind of looked like they were disappearing because it is a track shot pulling backwards, so you're changing the angle, and the light does do that. So I was deceived, but even so, my mind created a cool scene.
And then they turn around and see a helicopter crash into a building.
He said, "Code Red, call HQ." And she's like, "I ain't calling nobody because I'm disappearing." Yeah,
she disappears. And Nick Fury runs to the car they were in, grabs something out of his bag, and he has like this little.
It's like a retro
pager
that's like souped up, like Guardians of the Galaxy looking souped up.
And then good old Samuel motherfucking Jackson starts disappearing, and as he's disappearing, he's getting ready to say and it cuts him off.
His mouth disappears right when he's about to say fuck.
And he drops the little space pager he has.
Galactic pager, yeah, basically.
And then it says
it's got one button.
It says sending on it, and it keeps saying sending, and then it pops up as Captain Marvel.
Dun, 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 dun.
And the red and blue and shit. So yeah.
Which is one thing to talk about because the behind the scenes photos have been they got shot out to the internet, all right? Okay. And we saw a greenish suit, and people immediately were up in arms. They're like, no, her suit's supposed to be red and blue. And
she had a black suit at one time too, didn't she?
She's had multiple suits. The fact that this after credits showed us the symbol and her primary colors that people have been petitioning for goes back to what I was saying is Marvel listening to their people. Like big letters in Civil War. Okay, we'll tone them down. They're listening. Villains suck. Well, we'll make some compelling ass fucking villains.
Here's Killmonger. Here's Thanos.
Here's Vulture. It kind of I don't know. I feel more confident. I feel like after they pieced all this together and then figured that out, now they're just like chugging along. They spent all this time making the intercontinental railroad, and now it's in full service. That's a nerdy ass history reference, man. That's what I do. You can follow me on Twitter.
I just know. Me and David want the same thing from Captain Marvel because apparently this movie is taking place in the 90s.
Her personal one, which comes out next March.
Her movie is taking place in the 90s. So bitch, where you been?
It's an origin story, so it should answer us.
Where were you when the Battle of New York happened? Where were you when Sokovia happened? Like, where were you?
It'll have to be some
They better do some explaining.
What Captain Marvel is mostly known for is participating in the Kree Xandarian War. So that's where a lot of people say Pierce is going to be back playing Ronin. Nick Fury is in it. And some people are speculating that this is when we get to see him lose his eye.
Yeah, he's supposed to have both eyes in this movie from the beginning, I think, and then he'll lose it later on.
But Winter Soldier, didn't he explain how it happened? Am I remembering correctly?
How Nick Fury lost his eye?
Yeah. Weren't they telling a story? Wasn't, what's his name? Redfield, Robert Redford, there we go. Character, I can't remember the guy's name.
Alexander Pierce.
Yeah, wasn't he explaining a story like they snuck in through the sewers or something?
Yeah, they had like a mission or something. I thought that
was it in that mission story is when he lost his eye?
I think so. They might actually show it if that's the mission.
Maybe.
Regardless, he's going to have an eye and he's going to lose an eye.
Yeah, this is fans online just spouting out their speculation and theory and all that. And of course, as super fans as we are, we're just taking it all in and right now regurgitating it. But we're going about it with skepticism, pinch of salt, because this ain't fact. This is not for sure. What is for sure that has been confirmed to us is Captain Marvel's movie is Origin. It is in the 90s. And what I wanted to say again is this post-credit scene showed us the red and blue, so that makes me feel a little more confident. It's like, actually, I think she's going to look how we keep picturing her. How they keep advertising her in her current suit in the comics, which she's had for the last...
I don't know how anybody could... After this, I can never doubt Marvel anymore. Even if they were... They could make her colors pink and black. I would not care.
Someone would care, though.
I would not... I mean, someone would, but I wouldn't because I know they're going to do the character right. They've done...
Phenomenal work.
Pretty much every character to the T, man.
Well, their version of the T.
Yeah, I mean...
There's going to be that one dude out there who's going to bitch that Thor has a brown eye now.
Yeah,
I just realized it's a brown eye.
It doesn't have to be so super canon and from the comics. I mean, that would be nice every now and then, but, you can add your own little spice.
Super canon gets
boring.
Dull. Can you imagine a super canon vulture? Yuck.
Oh, God. He had, a beak nose or some shit, didn't he?
He was nasty, bald old man with a weird leotard
I'm kind of glad they, gave his own little suit.
They modernized this shit.
Yeah.
And it's genius.
So...
And actually, what I'm hearing is, in the comics, they're now changing up shit to kind of reflect the movies.
Yeah, they
or at least the inspiration for the movies. Maybe the Vulture is in the comics, kind of or not retrofitted, but
just hashtag trust Marvel. They got this, man. You know what? They wouldn't have this if they hadn't been doing it for 10 years. They've been doing it for 10 years. They got it.
And now it's more and more speculation of Fox is going to come around, and other properties are going to finally be brought in.
Hey, if they add in...
Or it's going to be a merger, and then they're going to forcibly put us in the situation where Fantastic Four and or X-Men are going to show up.
Hey.
But Kevin Feige's already kind of...
If Fox joins up and we get them, you know what we would get? An AVX movie.
Yeah, what you're hoping for.
An AVX movie, and I can see a live-action Wolverine.
Well, what we talked about in the podcast last week was after Thanos, what then? And we've speculated the only kind of
Galactus next Heralds, man.
Big one is Galactus. But do you want to just keep staying in this galactic entity that's the major threat to the Avengers? I mean, how many times... You know how people bitch all the time? It's like, oh, the Earth is in danger again. Oh, Earth-ending event. Oh, it's just the same shit over and over again. Instead of it being the universe at risk again for the next kind of arc, you could say, for Avengers in the MCU and all that, what if it was just more down to home and it was just on Earth, but it was a hell of a challenge? Now that we know for sure, Red Skull is definitely a candidate, possibly. He can, maybe now the stone's gone, he's maybe not obligated to stay there anymore.
That's true.
He's probably off the chain now. Galactus, yeah, that's good, but what if they...
He does have heralds. Maybe they could be they would be equivalent to what the Black Order was.
Black Order, in a way, yeah, Silver Surfer and all
Galactus
that.
just sends a bunch of fucking heralds to Earth to
But if they did go at a galactic level threat, that's when people will probably start calling Marvel out to being a one-trick pony. You know what I mean? That kind of shit. I don't want that. There needs to be a creative way to put someone on the ground. And that's why I think Dr. Doom...
Well, if they get all those rights back, man, they
would be the perfect one. So, fuck the new Fantastic Four. I like Miles Teller, and Michael B. Jordan was an interesting Human Torch. But let's face it, the MCU has 2 Human Torch actors, did them right, gave them redemption, recycle that old Fantastic Four shit. Alright? And do the thing correctly.
Give him some pants.
Give him some pants.
Jesus Christ, man. He was orange naked rock.
It'd be just like what people bitched about Spider-Man, but look at the Spider-Man we got now. Well, they're like, holy shit, this is like the 3rd Spider-Man in 2 decades. Not even a whole 2 decades. What the fuck is going on? This is ridiculous. But if we got it recasted for Fantastic Four that properly gets put into the MCU in this new arc, I'd be happy with. Especially, what comes with them is Doctor Doom. And Doctor Doom...
Yeah, because if they get all these properties back,
Doctor Doom...
all their villains come with them, so like...
is a great villain because he has tech and magic. So he's a threat even to that super strong Doctor Strange that we saw.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, after this whole shit with Thanos, he's not going to get that time stone back.
Who, Doctor Strange?
I'm hoping when all shit is said and done, it's like the Dragon Ball effect. They're gone again. You don't know where the fuck they are.
Oh, like after you make the wish, they just disappear and go to the corners of the universe or whatever?
Well, I mean, he made his snap, so I'm not saying exactly that. I'm saying after they beat Thanos, I hope that's kind of what happens. The universe takes hold again. Or maybe, like in the comics, the Celestials show up and they're like, hey, maybe we can help with this. So get a twist to what the comics didn't do. So there's a lot of options. It's all speculation. I'm telling you where I'm standing at. I don't want it to be another galactic level threat, because that gets stale.
I would just think, like, if they don't get those properties back, just say they don't, who would they do after Thanos anyway?
Red Skull. He can do some messed up shit.
I don't know. Thanos made such a staple in this movie. It'd be pretty hard to topple. They would have to come up with some creative shit.
Well, that's why I said, if it's down on Earth, it has to be creative of one way or another. And I think Doctor Doom is the...
Oh, I would agree with... Doctor Doom is... Yeah, I would agree with Doctor Doom.
So, Marvel, you can find my resume. I'm David Foruria on Twitter.
God damn, how many times you can put your Twitter on this?
I wanna make movies.
I just want to watch your movies, Marvel. Can I see the one you made for 2025 now? Have you made it yet? Can I watch it?
Yeah, I don't even want to think that far. I'm glad Kevin Feige came out and said we're not going to announce the lineup anymore, because this did hurt their effect they have with the snap. Because you're like, oh, Spider-Man will be back. He's got a sequel. Oh, Black Panther will be back. Oh, Guardians will be back. There's a Volume 3 in the pipeline. That kind of hurt them.
even
but
with
he said, he's like, we're done announcing that shit. At this point, you'll have to wait till we tell you with a trailer.
Even with that, it's still it's still shocking. Like the Black Panther one. When he started disappearing, I'm like, no, y'all, really?
It's a good effect.
It's a good shock factor. Like, they shocked me. They got me.
It's not until your mind finally takes hold and is like, dude.
I know he'll be back.
Yeah. So, Avengers 4. Real quick, because we're about to hit the 2-hour mark.
Yeah,
we can talk forever.
I could probably go on another hour. I mean, I ain't gonna lie.
We're going to just speculate a little bit about Avengers 4.
Alright.
The title has not been announced. They're actually being very secretive about it, and they're actually kind of hyping it up. They're like, oh, the Russo brothers have said it. They're like, we'll tell you relatively soon. Just wait. The rumor that was floating around, and honestly, I would have came up with it on my own too if I sat down and thought about it, is everybody's saying it's Avengers Endgame. And I'll give you technically 3 good reasons why it should be. 1, dialogue. But not from this film, from Avengers Age of Ultron. When Ultron has taken off with the scepter and Thor came back and they're having their whole spat about who's to blame and why this happened and all that, Tony defends himself and he says, you guys remember when there was a space hole, a raging army flooding in? We're standing 500 feet below it. That's the end game. How do you guys plan on fighting that? He says it right there. That's the end game. Which, once again, reveals to all of us what's going on in his head. Right? That hell-bent motivation. Then, in this film, Infinity War, Doctor Strange says it to Tony.
We're in the end game.
We're in the end game now. And my third reason is, coming from a gamer aspect, you finished the entire campaign, but you're not max level. What do you call that grind?
The end game.
The end game, bro. So,
and
this is the end game, because they're out on their ass. This is the
And they were clearly not ready for Thanos. They were clearly not
ready. They did what they could, man.
With such short time to get ready, yeah.
This movie is like in the time span of like 2 days.
Yeah, when you first watch it, my very first time, I felt like the movie was moving like a million miles an hour. Like,
well, yeah.
The first scene, Hulk gets his ass beat, and then like they're transferred off to New York, and then boom, they're already having a fight in New York, and then boom, they're already having a fight on Titan. It's like it
probably
goes
mostly
so quick.
action, but that's all that people the people following this arc, the MCU and all that, really want out of this. Once again, you're not gonna get super detailed character arcs. You're not gonna get oversaturated love scenes or lengthy debate between characters. This movie is all about snappy dialogue to get to where we need to be, and action that is a payoff, which is also where you could get great combinations of these characters that have never met before or fought together for.
We didn't get the Rocket Raccoon Iron Man team up, man. Fuck.
Come on, man. That's a
what?
big one.
I thought what was funny, the two Sherlock Holmes hated each other at the beginning of the movie.
They
were arguing back and forth.
There's a lot of people that are like, Peter dropped the ball. He could have been like, yo, no shit, Sherlock.
He could have, man. Shit, Marvel, you missed it. You missed an opportunity, man.
It would have been great.
Yeah, the two Sherlocks in this movie, they were going at each other. He's like, how does that ego of yours, or how does your head fit in your helmet with that ego of yours? Like, they were just...
All I love is just like, and what's your job again, other than making balloon animals? Protecting your reality, douchebag. That's another thing I want to point out. This film had a lot of moments of douchebag, dipshit, asshole, shit, hell. Like, they almost hit every... If you were playing curse word bingo, you would have hit a shitload except for fuck.
Oh, I think Marvel now realizes, I mean, kids are not going to their movies. Like,
well,
it's adults who haven't grown up yet. Like, hey, how you doing? I haven't grown up yet. So, I'm going to go watch all your movies, Marvel. I'm just going to do it. Even Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Dude, new trailer came out, and it looks great.
Now, we also believe that movie is supposed to take place before Infinity War, because if it doesn't, it's weird.
I think it's, yeah, between...
It has to take place.
It has to. It would
really
weird. Suck if right at the get-go they're like, oh yeah, then the rapture happened, but life continues on. What? So yeah, it is definitely before. Actually, if I was in charge of it, the post-credit scene, or maybe even one of the final scenes, would be that moment that happens.
Okay, so we didn't get... Let's go back to speculation of Avengers 4. We didn't get every Avenger in this movie. It's kind of false advertising in a way, because Hawkeye and Ant-Man are not in this movie. And
they were at the photo shoot and everything.
Yeah. Bastards.
Well, I mean, they were caught on set.
Do you literally think...
They're in the next one.
They are?
Yeah.
So we will get every single Avenger, including Captain Marvel, in 4.
Come on. Marvel's not dumb. You've been saying it this whole time. Trust Marvel.
I should, but I want to see it.
Oh,
I gotta see it.
You will.
Why isn't it next May?
And it won't be just Ant-Man. You'll have Wasp too.
Oh yeah.
And you know what would be really fucking cool? Not just Hawkeye, but Hawkeye 2. The chick Hawkeye, yeah. Well, they're saying he's going at it like more the Ronin character personality he took on, the alias, where he was more of a weaponry kind of guy instead of an archer. That'd be interesting. I mean, he was kind of showing us that he can do that, like Civil War.
This Hawkeye in the MCU does have a daughter.
Yeah, well, she's young, though.
But still.
She's really young.
Could train her to be a young Hawkeye.
I don't think Hawkeye 2 was actually his real daughter.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, I think...
You know who does have a daughter, and if the MCU just keeps going on for ages, that can assume a role that makes sense in the comics? Scott Lang had a daughter that became a superhero.
What superhero was she?
I can't remember exactly what she was. All I remember was at the beginning of AVX, Scott Lang does mention it. He's like, I've been through some shit, alright? I'm still mourning my daughter. And I was like, oh shit. She became a hero and died? Fuck. So that's some stuff to look forward to. More deaths. Alright, we're coming up on the 2 hour mark. So, I think we've gone almost everything. This is probably one of the most detailed Infinity War reviews you will have. And that's how I'm going to title it.
Go watch it.
Go watch it.
Like,
again.
Even if, yeah.
Watch us again. I mean, no, the movie.
If you've seen it once, why not twice?
Or 3 times.
Yeah, why not 3 times? Why not 4? If you got the money, go see it.
Hey, Joe, what are you doing tomorrow?
I'll go see it again.
I have to work.
Oh, well,
hey, I can't come in. I'm sick.
Hey, I called in for Winter Soldier.
That was fucking hilarious. You did. You really did. Anyways, though, we suck at outros, so let's just kind of do Band-Aid.
Oh,
shit. Thank you for tuning in. Our very, very thorough, very detailed Avengers review. Avengers Infinity War, honestly, for me, gets a 10 out of 10. And that's a very biased opinion, but I tried to also get my mind out of that as a filmmaker, as an admirer, film lover, and all that. So hopefully I've fully
and for all the
explained myself.
haters who are going to nitpick it, just go somewhere else.
Shut up. I've defended a lot of points that they've been already going at.
Just go.
Away. We don't need you. Joe? This is a 10 out of 10 for you?
I'll say 11 out of 10.
Holy shit. And Hulk was only in the first 5 minutes.
And he got his ass whooped, and I still like the movie.
That's impressive.
I know, we're a movie where my favorite character just gets demolished and he isn't in the rest of the movie. I still liked it.
Beautiful filmmaking, bro. That's how you do it. The Russo brothers.
Unintentionally, Thanos became my favorite character because at the end, it even says Thanos will return. It usually says an Avenger will return.
Or this Avengers will return.
Yeah, this said Thanos will return, so...
Well, if you put Avengers will return at the end of it, then people are like, oh, does that mean it's going to be reversed? Oh, thank God. You don't want to, like, for the people who are not thinking that already, you don't want to spoil that.
But it's just weird they put...
Thanos will return.
Yeah. I mean, he's the villain, and they just made him, like... This is his movie. This should have been called something else besides Avengers Infinity War.
No, because Avengers is also kind of a brand.
Yeah.
So, if you're bringing a shit ton of people together, what do you call it? Not Justice League.
Thanos Galactic Genocide is what it could have been called.
That's heavy, bro.
I mean, that's what he's going to do. And then watch the sunrise. He probably has a little drink with the umbrella in it right now. He's just chilling with a burnt arm. A fucked up gauntlet.
That's what happens when you suntan to just one side too long.
You gotta switch, Thanos.
You gotta rotate. Who's gonna put lotion on his back? Why is it retirement?
Well, he killed all his kids are dead, so
he SOL.
He should. Well, he does have Nebula, but he didn't like her, so
no, he don't have her.
He could go. Well,
it would have been a waste of parts. That's what he said.
Oh yeah.
You know what? We're gonna keep talking about this in our speculation about Thanos and his now retired life. So you don't need to see this. Bye bye. So really, lotion.